All right, people, what's up? What's up? This is I've Got Questions. We are back. This is, I believe it's episode 8 of this podcast series, season 2. I am your host, Jeremy Jager, and I actually, this time, for the first time ever, I have a guest speaker. I don't know if I want to call him that, but his name is Larry. I don't know. Did you? Okay. Hi, Larry. I don't know if you want me to say your last name.
Larry is fine.
Okay.
Or say my last name, doesn't matter.
Well, you are a fashion designer. You are
Yes.
an educator.
Yes.
And I wanted to bring you on because you and I have many private discussions that we go very long in the tooth, talking about various things and whatnot. And I've never, like I said, I've never had a guest on the show, so I definitely just randomly thought, let me ask Larry if he would like to get on. I forget what we were talking about the other day, but I was like, yeah, me and him need to go ahead and do some kind of conversation here. So welcome.
What's up? I feel welcome. I feel flattered. I feel honored. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
For the record, I win majority of those discussions in all domains, so I just like to point that out to people outside.
I don't know about if there's a winner or a loser, but
In my mind, there's a winner.
oh, so now I know this. I never knew that. So, you know, Larry and I, we do talk about various things, relationships and politics and all kind of different things. And we don't always agree. We definitely do not always agree. And we definitely go back and forth. And I don't know. I was thinking if I would start this with a monologue or not, because I know I'm on your time, and whenever I'm, on someone else's time, I definitely don't want to just waste time. But I didn't think I wanted to start this with a monologue per se, like I've been starting to do. Yeah, nah.
I mean, just, kick it out like you would normally kick it out.
Oh, I am. But I was thinking, should we talk about like dating or something real quick and whatnot? But
I mean, I'm down. I mean, I have nothing because my dating life is, it is what it is.
right.
My
And
dating life is what it is.
and you and I have talked about dating and how the ups and downs of dating. Well, maybe we'll just spin off a little bit on it because this show we're not going to start off so hot and heavy on politics or human rights as I sometimes do, but maybe we'll talk about a little bit about. So you used to live in Atlanta, as I do live in Georgia now.
Yes.
You lived in Atlanta, you said, for how long?
I stayed in Atlanta from 2017 to 2019 till December 2019. No, July 2019.
So about 2 years.
Yeah, about two, 3 years. Yeah.
Okay, then why did you leave? I mean, that was pretty quick.
Well, I left. It was not a plan to just like leave and stay gone. When I left when my mother ended up being diagnosed with breast cancer in July.
Oh, wow.
I was planning on going back to school to Southern University at A&M College, where I graduated from. In that following December, I planned on going back there and then returning back to Atlanta. But in November of 2019, my father was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
So I had like both my parents had cancer. I was in school trying to graduate, and I was like, well, somebody has to be in Mississippi just in case my parents need me or
Right.
something goes south. So I stayed in Baton Rouge. When I graduated from Southern, I stayed in Baton Rouge until December of 2020, and I moved back home.
Baton Rouge is Louisiana.
Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yes.
Okay. Because, I'm not from here, so I was thinking that, but I was making sure. Now, you live in Mississippi. Well, Not from Earth.
Right. Like, I guess anyone should know Baton Rouge.
Well, yeah, no, but I was thinking Mississippi also had a Baton Rouge, but no. And one thing we will be talking about later on in the show, I think I do have a topic to talk about with, yeah, I do, Mississippi, because you are in Mississippi, and there's been a lot of things going on in Mississippi. And I'm sorry?
I am in the ghettos, Mississippi.
Well, okay. But I mean, I don't. Are you affected by? Well, no, we were talking about something. Well, we're going to get into the water crisis in Mississippi a little bit later. And he's someone who's on the ground, so there you go.
I'm actually in Jackson right now as we speak. So yeah.
Oh wow. Oh, so can you? Well, okay, so I'm going to need you to turn on the faucet.
The water's not real. I checked to see, but I did buy me some water.
Okay.
Coming into this, so but yeah, we could definitely talk about that.
Yeah.
But because I have a few things off of my chest.
Okay. Perfect. And I'm sorry for anyone listening. That is definitely my dog talking right now. Oh boy, this is how he starts off. This is great. But anyway, so we'll move on past that. Hey, cut it out. This is the perks of home recording. So how was your dating experience in Atlanta or Hotlanta? What do you think about? What do you think about? Well, I don't want to talk about what your sexuality is if you don't want to talk about it.
Okay. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I don't care.
Right. So what was your experience like in Atlanta? Um, period. Your dating experience. And while you do that, just talk for a second, and I'm gonna be right back.
Well, first, let me just say that I am a man of LGBTQIA plus identity. So dating in Atlanta, being a gay man, is everything that people think that it is.
And what do you mean by that?
It is like so. A lot of people come to Atlanta and they think that it's like the gay mecca or the black mecca, black gay mecca, and it's men everywhere. So that is true. There are a plethora of men to choose from and a plethora of men to choose you. However, they are all after. I would just say all, because I'm not going to generalize the whole population, but majority of them are all after the same thing.
Which is
sex.
Okay.
So I knew that going into Atlanta because previous before moving there, I used to visit Atlanta as a college student and as a high school.
Oh, so you were hot on the town.
No, I was not hot on the town. My sisters live in Atlanta. I have two blood sisters that stay in Atlanta.
Okay.
And they've been there since like 2005.
Right.
So I used to visit for the summers as a teenager, so I knew what dating as a gay man was like in that young of an age. Even though I wasn't out, I still I like men, and I saw certain things that I probably should not have witnessed as a teenager. But,
okay, what do you mean? Can we get one example of something you probably shouldn't have witnessed?
So, I think that a lot of times that gay men get an image of over a hypersexuality, right? As a gay man, as a little boy, as a teenager who's growing up, I saw a lot of the friends that I made have multiple men coming in and out.
Now, okay, so now you're saying as a younger person, you seen that, but were those men older men?
They were old. Well, for me, mostly they were older, so they were I probably 15, 16.
Oh, wow.
They were 17, 18, 19.
Okay.
So you could say basically older.
Well, not older men meaning 30.
No, not 30. Of course not. But, there were men that were coming in. They're probably 25, 26.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Got you, got you.
So they were like, they introduced me to like during that time to tell my age. During that time, it was like BGC, Adam for Adam.
Okay.
So they would like beat them on or the chat line.
So, do you feel that, and especially today, I think that with social media and whatnot, I mean, even, I guess it would be multiplied at this point, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that young black men are maybe, I don't want to say danger in such a extreme way, but I mean, hell, it is extreme because a lot of these people, young men, young boys, don't have an example to really follow. Do you feel maybe there's a lot of danger for these young LGBTQI plus people?
Yeah, I think that there's the danger is come from ignorance. We don't have a lot of and I mean well, like as far as mentally, like well people or emotionally well people guiding and teaching our black gay young men.
Right.
So you deal with so before you even get to a person that is well thinking, you meet like a whole bunch of sickos.
What do you mean by sickos?
Like you meet people who like are in the the mode to just groom younger guys or to like date a younger guy, and you're like 35, 34, and you're trying to date someone that is 18, 19. Like
Right.
what? Like come on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like so, and that was like I think it's because you weren't accepted at that age, or you was DL at that age. You're trying to relive a lifestyle or a life that you can't get right now. You know that you missed. So you're trying to live it. And my thing is, I would never take away that experience from anyone.
Right.
Like,
I really, me and you have never talked about this particular subject, and I've really thought about that myself. Because I'm in the LGBTQI plus spectrum as well, and I've really thought like, sometimes there will be someone very young who hits on me, and it's kind of, I feel like it's weird in a way too, because I feel like, definitely, what you're talking about, I dealt with, where I was young and the person who I ever first was really intimate with at that point was older than me. So that's interesting that you say that. Yeah, I guess that's just. I guess it would be worldwide how what we deal with because of. Do you feel that we deal with that because we have to hide so much?
I think so. I think that we deal with that because of that point of accept. Like I feel like you don't really get a chance to grow up.
Right.
Like when you're gay, you don't get a chance to really grow up until you are out.
And meaning grow up. You're meaning like there's no steps. It's just like bam and bam, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't get a chance to grow. Like when you're DL, you're hiding in the closet, you're doing all of these things, and you're trying to cut the spectrum of being a straight man.
Right.
You don't get a chance to really grow up.
Right.
Like because you're not free. Like you're not yourself.
Right.
You're not who you are. So you are put into a box, and if you know anything that is put into a box, it can't grow.
Right.
It'll grow only big enough to like
burst out of the box.
Yeah, to fit in that box.
Yeah, only fit in. Yeah.
Right. And matter of fact, a perfect example. I'm trying to think of the animal. I think it's a turtle. It's a turtle. If you put a turtle like I'm not sure if the animal or whatever the animal is, if you put it in like a container or a small container, it will only grow to a size that is befitting of that container. And I think that as gay men, we are that person. As gay black men, we are put into that box
right.
where we're not allowed to grow. So we don't get a chance to really grow, like completely grow, like completely like be our biggest potential.
Yeah, thinking of 2 points I have. Because I was looking at I guess this came out yesterday night or something. I don't know if you've seen the picture of Zaya. I don't know, Zaya Wade. Is that how you say her name?
Is it Zaya? Or
Yeah.
is it probably, yeah, I think probably so sorry.
But you know what I'm talking about. So did you see those pictures that came out?
Dwayne Wade's.
Yeah. So that's Dwayne Wade's daughter. Did you see the pictures that came out? Okay. You have. Can you see on your phone?
Yes.
And guys, for those listening, I'll try to put up a picture during this conversation because there was this picture came out last night, um, and the first thing I actually thought about was, wow, she's really pretty, but there's going to be people online here who are going to fetishize her or fantasize about her. And she's really, I believe, 13 or 14 years old.
She should be about 15 or 16 now.
Okay, I mean, but still.
Still too young to be in a situation of that.
And
But
try to go on Instagram and find that picture. Because I want you to see it and why I'm bringing it up. So when I went on YouTube this morning, there was a pretty popular LGBTQI channel who does a lot of ballroom kind of stuff, and I've gotten into ballroom over the last year, watching it and whatnot. You know, it's pretty fun and whatnot. It takes a lot of agility, but the first thing they said was, oh damn, I wish I had the exact words. They said something about this treat is gonna like a look at this treat, this young treat that it's gonna be growing into something else when they get older, and I felt that word treat was just so gross. You know.
It's like that like yeah, bro. Like you have to be aware of what you like, and they could have meant no harm by it, but you
Right.
have to. That's like saying, "Oh my God, she's gonna be so pretty when she grows up."
Yeah.
Like some people say that. Like what I'm saying, I've heard grown people say, "Oh my God, he's gonna be a heartbreaker when he grows up." So that's the equivalent of saying that. But at the same time, I think that you have to be aware of what you say because words mean things.
Yeah, and it just was so strange to me to say something like that.
She's really pretty.
Yeah, she's really, really pretty. And, there's a lot of comments that are coming out about her. And I can't even pull it up. I want to get the exact word. The definite word was treat in there, but I was trying to get exactly what they said, but I'm not going to be able to get it. Going back to what we were talking about with Groma. Oh, here it is, actually. Here it is. So, can I show you? No, I can't show you. It says, stay tuned for this future treat.
Yeah, that doesn't feel okay.
Right.
That does not feel
It was so strange to me for someone to say something like that. Yeah. So I think that, especially, being in our world per se, in the black community, a lot of parents do have issues with their LGBTQI plus children being who they are. And Zaya Wade is very fortunate,
she's a unicorn. She is one of those unicorns.
Right.
That have a parent that supports her.
Right.
That has three parents that support her.
Right.
Because in order for Dwayne to support her, or Dwayne to support her, and Gabrielle Union to support her, but in order for him to support her, her mother has to support her as well.
Right.
So that is and I do apologize if I didn't call her to say the wrong pronouns.
Well, I think she's a her, right?
Yeah, but I think I still didn't say his a little bit. Yeah, I do apologize.
And you know what? That's the thing that we all, I feel like as long as you recognize, then you're not trying to be funny. You know what I mean? As long as you recognize and give credence to that, I think that those things can happen.
Yeah. It's just that like just you have to apologize for it.
Yeah.
But like I'm pretty sure her mother is accepting of her as well, because that has to happen in order for for that acceptance to happen. You have to have it, and for her to feel as free as she does. And I'm happy that she feels free.
Right.
Because you see in our community that so many men aren't free, and they deal with that identity crisis.
Right.
Like, I've seen so many times where men, and even now as the grown man, like 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, grown men marrying women, and you were just on jacked. Mm-hmm. You were just on Instagram, Facebook, being gay. Like, you have to deal with that. For instance, and I know I hate to bring this up, but and I really hope that he is genuinely who he is. I don't know if you've heard of the internet and for the social media influencers, Messy C.
Who?
Messy C. So Messy C is a look her up.
I'm gonna look it up.
Look him up. Look her.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Messy C is she's been trending. Or he's been trending a lot on social media, where he was engaged to a woman. From that woman, he ended up getting engaged to a man within 2 or 3 weeks after he announced his engagement to the woman. And that's allegedly 2 or 3 weeks. He ended up announcing his engagement to the woman. And he said he's engaged to a man, and he ended up having the same wedding date as the woman he was supposed to marry. And at his wedding, he dressed when he was with the woman, he was very masculine. He was deep voice, all those things. But with the man, he's light voiced and dressing in drag. And it's I was like, that is a person, that is identity crisis.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I just looked him up, or I don't know what his pronoun. I don't think that he's trans.
No, he's not trans.
Right.
But I think he does stuff for wow factor, but it's really it's almost sad to watch him. Yeah. Fidget around. It's kind of like watching what's her name? So Scooby-Doo. Who loses her glasses?
Velma.
It's like watching Velma trying to find her glasses.
Wow. I mean, that's a real that's a good example. I've talked about on this show about someone who was interested in me, and he and I worked together for years upon years, and he never ever spoke of this until about 10 years of me knowing him, and he said that it wasn't. I don't know what his thing is. He's married, he has kids, and all these things. But he said that it was more being, and that's what I'm demisexual, so it was more about energy for him. But there's, a person like him who has a wife that gets to flirt with women and be with women if she wanted to. But he could never do that because he would be ostracized. And I find that so sad, that he has to live in a cage pretty much, and I think that's where something like that happens with this person. He probably was Messy C, which I looked up, was probably living in a cage pretty much and then bursted out. Kind of like that box example that you gave. Yeah. I feel like he I think doing it on the same wedding date and all that's kind of messy, if literally his name. But yeah, I mean, if you are a parent who listens to the show, and there are people all over the world who listen to the show, but if you are a parent who listens to this show and you probably, if you listen to the show, you're probably not liking gay people. But if you are, I think it's more important to support your child, because there's been so many suicides in the last bunch of years of even children, 12 years old, killing themselves. Um, that affects a lot of people. So I just think we need to pay attention more and more to what we're doing and whatnot. And uh
And just to be honest with you, transparency. I had to look up what demisexual meant.
mhm.
So please don't judge.
No, I mean, yeah, no.
I was like, that's no one for me. Let me look up the word what demisexual is.
Right.
Like I learned, the funniest thing is I learned a new sexuality probably once a month. So I'd be like,
But that's
okay, that's the thing.
but that's the thing. I feel like, there are so many, and I think even going back to the Native American days where they already thought about two spirit. That wasn't this is not new. Two spirits is not new. That was something that they thought of and they allowed their people to be because that's just what it was.
But also as well too, like even in um, ancient Greek and Roman times, and this is just with the white people. They have the men that were in the army were like bisexual men or gay men, and even sleeping with a man during that time was a level of status.
Right.
So it was like somebody knew something, and then like he was just battling this whole gay thing, and like even African tribes. And,
Well, yeah, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone. I really am not going to spoil it. But there was a gay character in The Woman King, which we're going to get into next.
I have not been able to go see it yet.
Yeah, but going to what you're talking about African tribes and whatnot,
Yeah.
yeah, those things were real until I feel Christianity and things of those natures came about. And you know what I really think is that some guy out there was just so angry that he just was like he wrote this in this book because I said on this show that religion is man-made. So
So the thing is, with the whole, I know, like with Leviticus, the thing that they say is an abomination is not homosexuality; it's pedophilia.
mm. So people
You should not lay with a man with a boy, BOY.
so people use that as a weapon.
Correct.
Mm.
You should not lay with a boy as if you would do a woman.
Mm. Mm.
So it was changed within the Catholic faith because once again you had those. We all know what happens with the choir boys. Y'all pretty, I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing at we already know the idea of the choir situation. So that is the thing that's funny.
Well, hold on. Now, just turn a little to your computer more. And what do you mean by the choir? We all know what happens with the choir boys. What do you mean by that?
So you've heard the stories, like the general stories of the priest and the choir boy, right?
Do you go ahead?
So it's sometimes in certain situations, a lot of situations, they have had where the priest has taken advantage of the choir.
Right.
So a lot of them. So so that's something that has been, I guess, are stereotyped for choir boys in the Catholic faith.
Mm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and there's and I talked about on the show that I really want people to watch is this movie called Spotlight. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've never seen Spotlight.
Spotlight is a really great film that spoke about this topic exactly, where a lot of priests who would assault young children, they were moved into other churches rather than kicked out, and for a lot of reasons, that you would see like on the paperwork and whatnot. You would never see that they molested a child. You would see that they left because they were sick or something else rather than what they actually did. So they were able to actually go around and keep on molesting. And in this movie Spotlight, which is based on true events, because there's a newspaper in Boston, a section called Spotlight in that newspaper, where they actually put the spotlight literally on what was going on. And in this movie, they found so many priests that were just moved, not just fired or anything, moved. And they knew what was happening and just moved them.
And the Hulk is in it. I'm sorry, I called him
Who?
the Hulk. The Hulk.
What's his name? Yeah, I know.
Mark,
Mark Ruffalo, yeah.
That's his name. And,
Yeah, he played a great role, let me tell you.
And Stanley Tucci. I like Stanley Tucci from The Devil's Wears Prada.
Yeah, you've got to see this movie, Larry, and anyone who else out there, please go see Spotlight. I don't even know why I say it to really go see it. I'm not trying to just bash religion, but I feel like there are predators that we allow within our realm more than we think.
Yeah. So let's to circle back. I would really love for you to kind of explain demisexuality, because even though I read it, I just don't really get an understanding. Like, I'm understanding, and it's saying something a person that is really sexually attracted to, or however that works.
Well, it's more about like I said, it's more about energy than the actual sexual, or I guess the what do I want to say? Male, female, trans, whatever. Because I feel like I am attracted to trans people. I am attracted to men. I am attracted to females. I don't. Go ahead. You look puzzled.
Yeah, because that kind of sounds a lot like pansexuality.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a mix. I think pansexuality is just that that they're attracted to different. But I feel like more the energy is more for me, But those two go hand in hand. They're not too different.
So, like, I found out that there's a name for something that I am attracted to, and that is androsexuality.
Okay, and what are you attracted to?
So I always tell people that I am attracted to masculine energy. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So I am attracted to a masculine man, but I'm also attracted to masculine trans men or masculine women. So I am highly attracted to women that do masculine jobs. So like if I see like a woman police officer
or a plumber,
I'm attracted to, or a woman plumber. No, seriously, like if I see like a woman construction worker, like if she presents like a masculine energy,
you get a hard on.
Seriously, like for real, like so it's kind of funny because like I was like, hey, bro, I don't think I'm completely gay. I think I just like masculine people.
Right. Well, see, there you go. And that's the thing I think that a lot of black men go through is that and not that there are not gay black men who only like men, but a lot of guys I feel don't like the label gay because of all the stigma that comes with it. But really, a lot of guys just aren't gay. They are, multifaceted with their sexuality.
Correct. Like the bromance thing. That's been something that's been really big lately, like the bromance.
And homoeroticism, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, the whole ideal of bros over hoes and things like that. Like,
go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was going to say, I've talked about, and not that this subject means that, but I've talked about a lot of guys not really liking women, period, like hating women, but also that there's a lot of, if you see a lot of rappers and not just rappers, but, groups of guys who will never have women around, but when they do, it's probably like one, and
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 it's only just because they're having sex with them.
yes, and there's nothing else with it. They go out with the guys to go eat. They don't ever really have a woman in their life unless it's yeah. Mm-hmm.
Unless it's just to have sex. And that right there, they don't even consider that as a. For I guess what messed people up is that last word of that of anything sexual, like bisexual, transsex, like sexual is so they automatically go to the generalization of sex,
Right,
the behavior,
right,
so the act of sex.
right.
So that's why when people be like, well, I'm not understanding why y'all worrying about a kid and their sexuality. Because the last word of that is sex.
Right.
So they automatically think if a child that's 12 years old is gay, the first question they're gonna ask you, who touched you? Baby, nobody touched me.
Right.
I just know I like boys.
Right.
Or I just know I like girls.
And I will say that from my own self, I was very young when I realized I like both. And back then it wasn't like trans people were really out there and whatnot. But I was attracted to both. Yeah.
When I realized I was attracted to men, I was 4th grade.
Yeah, very young for me too. Yeah.
And the thing I always tell people, like when I'm telling them my sexuality, because they always have I don't know why they have to ask, but they always ask me, or they don't really ask me. Like when I just tell them, because we'll be in a conversation, because for some reason people like to say, are okay with saying homophobic things around you. And I'm like, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's never okay. And like I have to tell them, like, oh yeah, because I'm gay. That's how I know. And I'm like, oh my god, like I didn't know you were gay.
Yeah, like you know what? Recently, I was playing the game, and Larry and I are gamers. And you hear a lot of different things when you're playing video games. Let me tell you, horrible things.
The F-bomb is dropped everywhere.
F-bomb, N-bomb, all that. And there was some guy like, oh, that's gay, and I was like, well, I don't know how shooting someone and you dying is gay. And then he had to catch himself, I guess, because I said something. I guess he realized, he was playing with somebody who, was a part of that spectrum. And the good thing is that he didn't keep going with it, and I liked it I like that about him, that person.
And sometimes that's all it takes. Like,
yeah.
You do not like, and I tell even with my parents, like, and I love my parents to death. But once again, if you don't know me, I grew up with a Southern family.
Right.
I'm talking Louisiana, Mississippi family.
Right.
And they are Bible Christians.
Down. Bible Christian down. Yeah.
Yeah. Bible Belt.
Right. You literally, you live in the Bible Belt. Yeah.
Yeah, I live in the Bible Belt. So for me to come out as gay, their first question was, well, who touched you? And how, like, my mom, I told my mom, she was like, well, did somebody touch you? Did somebody? No, I just.
Wow.
Maybe y'all just hated gay people so much that, I was like, hey, you're a visual gay baby.
Right. Right.
But no, I just so, like, trying to explain that, like, you do not have to understand or like what I do. You don't have to, but I'm asking you for the respect that you would give my sister if she brought home a man.
Right. And I was talking to someone about kind of like that, and they were like, we were just joking around, and he was like, oh, you know what? I should bring you home for Christmas just to splurge, just to do that to my family. And I was like, yeah, like that would be funny. And he was like, no, but they would take it a whole different way. And I'm like, like even if you were to date someone, because like I said, we were just kidding around. But I told him that you should never feel like you can't. You know what I mean? Because I think straight guys or straight people, they just you could bring a new one home every damn Christmas, every damn Thanksgiving. You don't have to, say anything. But for us, it has to be kind of like the perfect one to finally bring home. What do you?
But and like for me, like me taking somebody home, like I've already told friends, and I think this has a lot to do with how I view relationships too as well. I already told like my friends, like, well, I already know my parents would never come to my wedding if I was to get married to a man. I already know they would never come. So that
you really believe that?
I know they would.
Wow. And your parents definitely love you, right? I mean, you and I have talked about your parents, and they seem very supportive of you outside of that, it seems like.
Yeah, they're very supportive. Like, my dad supports the fact that I sew. My dad supports the fact that I do clothes and everything. They're very supportive of me. But it's just that, once again, they believe that what I'm doing is not right within God's eyes, yada, yada, yada. Even though you have a daughter, 2 kids out of wedlock, we're not going to tell like, we're just going to let that go. My sin is not the ultimate sin. We're going to let that go.
And even though, like you said in Leviticus, it doesn't say about with a man, it says boy. They still.
It's supposed to be so. It's supposed to be with boy.
So have you ever kind of challenged them on that part of it?
No, because we don't think is. So here's the thing. Here's another moment of transparency. I think my dad knows that I'm gay. One.
But you never talked about it.
But we never talked about it.
Wow.
So it's like adult acts, adults, like very Army.
Very Florida. You're very Florida.
Don't say gay. Yeah. Don't say gay. But we don't talk about it. My mom, I came out to my mom. So I came out to my mom in college. My freshman year of college. I called her and talked to her and I came out. Because I didn't want to tell her in person just in case she was going to put me out. So I wanted to go ahead and have my stuff already in my dorm room.
Wow.
So I didn't know what to do just in case she put me out.
Wow.
And
that's so sad. Yeah. That's.
You said what?
Not that, your life is sad, but that's sad,
But that's the thing, like, and I came out when being gay, it was just like one of those situations of like, it wasn't as accepted. Like, me and you, we're on the same age. Yeah. I think you're probably either a little bit older than me or maybe just a little bit older than you. I'm not sure. I know you don't want to say your age, so yeah.
I don't know what my age has to do with your story, but go ahead.
No, I was just trying to see if you can relate. I was saying maybe you can relate around the time.
I can relate to you, period, because I have the same story as you.
Yeah. So like around 2000. Some people say like around 2008. That's when I was like 18. So I came out around that time to my mom.
Oh, wow.
And, I know she had asked me before, and I told her, I'm saying, like, I try to, like, deviate, like, try to move the conversation somewhere else. Because I just really didn't want to tell her. But when I finally got to college, just in case, just like I said, I waited until I got to college, and I probably called her, like, a month into college, like, hey, Mom, I want to talk to you, let you know I'm gay. And she was like, okay. She was like, I kind of figured that anyway. I already knew that anyway. It shocked me how like blah she was.
Let me ask you something. Does your mom watch a lot of gay programs or people with?
She does.
She does, huh?
I found out later. My mom liked Noah's Ark.
It's so crazy to me that they could watch things up and down, but have such a large. Because I'm only saying that because my mom is the same way, where I was just like, you're watching all these things, and my mom now, it's just whatever. It's not a bad thing now. But back when I did tell her, it was like the phone dropped, and I think I've told this story on the show. When I told her that I did like, men, it was very scary for me. Yeah, it was very dramatic because we literally, I was living separate from my mom also, or I was separate from my mom, and like just like you, and I we were on the phone, and the phone, she said she didn't hang up, but the phone just was off. Like she had hung up or the phone dropped. I don't see how the call could have dropped all of a sudden. And then then there was the call back, and it was just a very sad moment to know that it's just a sad thing.
And at first, my mom was like, "Well, I just think you're going through a phase."
Oh my God.
I'm like, girl, like this phase has been going on. Hate to tell you, hate to be the bearer of that madness.
Right. I mean, here you are sewing sequins, and she thinks it's a phase.
Right. Like I'm doing everything but drag. What are you talking about?
Oh my God.
But her reasoning was like she kind of figured it because she was like, I just realized that you didn't want to go to prom, and then like you said that you don't want to go, like you can't go with who you want to go with, so you don't want to go, and you never brought any girls home and introduced them as your girlfriend, and I was like, so that's your reason thinking I'm gay?
Well, I mean, I guess kind of like, right?
Okay.
I mean, only because you're not unattractive at all. I mean, so you would think, yeah.
So I was like, that was like, yeah, like, but I don't like people. So I don't think that's I done brought a man home and said, hey, mom, this is my boyfriend. Like, I never did that either. So,
Right. Wow.
but my dad, so this is how I know my dad knows. I remember me and my dad were watching TV one day, and normally my dad would make homophobic comments. And one day we was watching TV, and he was watching, like we were watching, I can't remember what we were watching, but he had saw like homosexual activity. And he had said something, he caught himself, he apologized. He was like, oh man, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. And I was like, dang. I was like, he must know. I was like, I'm gonna speed past that.
Wow.
I'm gonna let that marinate, let that go.
Right.
So, but he asked my mom one time. I remember he asked my mom. He's like, "Mom told me she like your dad. I think your dad is suspecting you're gay." And she was like, "I think that because he asked me the other day why Larry don't ever bring the girl, why Larry don't ever bring women home."
Right.
And she was like, "I don't know. You should ask him." But he never asked me. So I think my dad knows. Then I also wants to, but I can't say that because my dad sews. My dad, he does car seats and upholstery and car seat, like he does all of that stuff. So me sewing is not something he's gonna be like, oh my God, like where so.
Right.
But so he was like, oh, he's just taking after me. But I'm out here sewing gowns full length.
Right. So do you think that there's ever I mean, because and you didn't say how your age, but I mean, at this point of your life, you are, do you think you would ever have that conversation with him? I mean,
honestly, the reason why I think I have not had that conversation again is because I haven't been in anything serious, so where they will have to be in a situation where they're going to have to see it often. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
I'm going to have a consistent person coming around.
Right. I mean, I never brought it up until I was in a real relationship. Yeah.
Right. So, and that brings us back to the conversation that started from the beginning of the podcast, which we took the direction.
Yeah, we did.
I have never been in a relationship.
Right.
So there has really been no, because there is people out there that they still ask the question is, are you sure that you're gay? Or are you sure this? Because if you've never been with a man or been gay or been like I've had sex with men,
Yeah.
But if you've never been emotionally with the man, then how can you say that you're gay?
Mm.
And I like, and I thought like, damn, that is a great question.
Yeah.
I've never been presented with the opportunity, and like you said, I'm not an ugly guy. I'm not an unattractive guy, but I just never been presented with the opportunity to be in a relationship with anyone. I've never been on a date, so that was my dating life, and so there's different factors that factor into that.
Wouldn't it be amazing if you could speak to your dad about it, and that he knows someone that may be good for you? Have you ever thought of that?
I would die.
What if he said, like, one of the guys down at the shop,
That's a fella that I've been talking to. I know he got a son.
Right? People don't think about those kind of things where you could really bridge the gap per se. But I think this has been pretty interesting talk. I do want to get into our next topic, but I really appreciate you for being transparent in such an amazing way, because you are very talented, you are very smart, you are very educated, and that is
smart. You support.
well, you are, you truly are, and you need to know that, and I don't know if I've said that to you. Um, I think I've definitely bigged you up, but I've never said, you know, I want you to know.
You definitely called me a bitch ass nigga.
I've never used that. I've I've never used that word towards you. I've called you a bitch, but
You've called me several hookers and whores, but
and by the way, he's come back at me several and started with me several times. Okay, so don't do it. But no, you are very talented, and one thing I did want you to at least say, you do have something coming up next April that you are working on.
I am bringing fashion to Mississippi.
Yeah.
In a major way, beauty and fashion. In my small hometown, I am hosting a fashion show or a black beauty expo for boutique owners, black designers, black vendors who have self-care, or candles, or hair, or eyelashes, or acrylic nails,
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and hairstylists as well too. We're doing a hair show. It's going to be a hair show and a fashion show and black beauty expo in my hometown.
Yeah, and that's coming in April. Do you have a page or something that, in case it comes up, people can check it out?
You can follow my page. You can follow my personal Instagram at 50 yard YARD stitch STITCH.
And that is 50 yard stitch. That's the number 50 yard YARD STICH 50 yard stitch.
Yep, 50 yard stitch. Or you can follow my design page at Rocky Taylor, TAILORE.
That's that Mississippi for you.
No. Let me tell you something. My brain drifted.
You know what's gonna ask you before we got on here, because I don't know how to spell it. Do you know how to spell Mississippi?
MISSISSIPPI. Where I didn't spell this Massachusetts.
Do you have to sing the song that crickly crickly giggly?
No, I do not. I've always spelling has always been a good thing for me.
Right.
Except for Massachusetts.
Right.
Really got me in a chokehold.
Well, listen, we are going to take a moment. We will be right back. This is my guest, Larry Medley. He is a fashion designer. He has a fashion show coming up in April. So if you are in the surrounding areas or anywhere, There's a big show actually going to be there that weekend, right? There's a
It is the same weekend as what is called the Juke Joint Festival. So if you like blues, if you like live music, if you like black people, it is in a very historic black town, and it's called the Juke Joint Festival.
And you told me that lots of people come from all over the world.
Yes, people from France, Russia. I met someone in my job yesterday from Holland.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's coming up in April. Hit them up. Excuse me. I was holding on to that cough for a second there. So I apologize. That's coming up in April. Hit them up. Make sure you do. I'll actually be there. But we'll be right back, and we're gonna get into the topics that we normally talk about. So we'll be back. One. All right, guys, and we are back. This is I've Got Questions. All right, guys, ladies, them, their, her, she, whatever y'all are. So I don't want to just say guys, so I apologize. I am back with my guest, Larry Medley. Yes, we had a long discussion, which went very long, but I'm very happy that he did and was so transparent, as I told him. I really appreciate that. But we need to talk about more things. We need to get right into this because we have quite a show to get into. I try to keep the topics down to a certain amount because I do have a guest, and I didn't want the show to run so long, but we do anyway, and this is I've Got Questions, so y'all already know that I talk a lot. So the first thing I wanted to get into, and I think we spoke about this a little bit. So The Woman King is out this weekend. It came out. Let me just get right into it. The Woman King is an original black film with a female director, and it's number one. It selling 40% of all tickets as it grossed $19 million. It had a budget of $50 million. Production is directed by Gina Price Bythewood, so it's female led all the way. Viola Davis is the warrior of the Dahomey tribe, which a lot of people don't know about, and I'm happy that this movie did come out because it was needed. Let me just read this really quick. Driven by a black female audience that skews older, this is an impressive start from what could be a long-running success. It's the first film to get an A+ cinema score since Top Gun Maverick, and it has potential to expand to broader audiences as word of mouth spreads. It's also the latest 2020 non-franchise release to get a positive or better results. It's a huge movie. It's a lot of people may think it's like a Black Panther movie. It's not. It's not a Marvel movie at all. It's its own thing, and I really do hope that they do have a sequel to it because there's more of this story that we need to know. But let's get into the Woman King cast on what it means to be in this movie. They were on The View. Let's see what they had to say.
She's joined now by her co-stars in The Woman King. So please welcome Tusu Umbedu, Lashana Lynch, and Sheila Akim.
And just before we keep going, I did see The Woman King. I saw it Friday night, I believe. Incredible film, ladies and gentlemen, and them, theirs, and theirs. It's a really great film. I really feel the black unity in it was top notch. And just seeing females watch the movie was great to me also. Black females watch it, but any female really. I think it's a great movie just for that. And to see women take over the screen in such a way was just purely beautiful.
So, Tusu, your starring role in the Underground Railroad made you the first South African female lead of an American TV show. But The Woman King is your big screen debut and was actually shot in your home country of South Africa.
Yes.
Yes. How was that going home to shoot?
It was absolutely absolutely amazing. I obviously didn't know when auditioning that they would shoot it in Africa, let alone South Africa, and it made sense for it to be done that way. And not only was it shot in my home country, the first 2 weeks of production were shot in my home province. You know,
Wow.
yeah. It was absolutely, the locations are gorgeous. They've got beautiful locations in South Africa. Waking up in the morning, the sunrise, as early as, shoots are, driving, you're seeing the elephants, you're seeing the giraffe, you're seeing all these beautiful animals.
Let me tell you, this movie is beautiful. Okay, it's gorgeous film. Cinematography, all that great stuff. It's just beautiful. I know you haven't seen it yet, and I know you're planning on seeing it. Um, do you have any first impressions about it, or?
No first impressions, but because I know not even a lot of information about the homie Amazons. I know like just little small stuff, and that's just like battles that they have with Dutch and French.
Right.
I think it's the French. I think it's more so French, Dutch. One of them. I think I said that. I think in a previous conversation we talked about that.
Right.
But I have heard of the homie tribe, so it's going to be depicted. I'm excited to see how they depict it.
Right.
And then I always have to do this to Viola, the story about the rain.
Yeah. I'm going to tell a story about rain. It's going to take up too much time.
Hey, summarize it though.
Was the rain fabulous?
It
blew you away?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it almost threatened the movie, but then the drummers, it was a scene with, we had drummers and dancers, so the people started drumming and the dancers, and they sang a song to stop the rain.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That was beautiful.
Now, Sheila, you too starred in the Underground Railroad, and you're also a celebrated stage actor in the UK. You've said that friends and family, and even strangers, have shared anecdotes with you about what this movie means to them. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, one of my friends, who's an actress, Joan Iola, back at home, I sent her the trailer when it came out, and she messaged me back saying, I'm crying in the middle of the street, and I just forced 3 random people to watch it. There have been so many responses like that. I think seeing the trailer, just seeing the image of us all coming out the gate, it's conjured up feelings in people that I don't think they even knew were there. So it's really
It's just so beautiful. And you're also beautiful. It's breathtaking. Lashana, folks know you from both the Marvel Universe. And the James Bond franchises.
That's right. She was James Bond. Yeah. I mean, 007.
No Time to Die. Yes. Your dancing was very good in the film. But you said you enjoyed not needing to have a conversation about rocking your natural hair this time. You enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's nice to have a director who you have shorthand with as a black woman. Those conversations don't need to be had with any department, really, because...
Let me tell you, the hair in the movie was top notch. I'm not being funny at all. Their hair looked beautiful every time.
Can I ask a question though?
Mm-hmm.
And this is no disrespect to anyone on this cast, because I think it's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my question.
This is called I've Got Questions, so have at it.
I know this is a trend. Is it that, my question is it that black actresses, African American actresses, are not accepting these roles or something? And the reason why I asked that question is because, and I'm glad that they're getting different diaspora, but when it comes to like picking the black actresses.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean now.
But I've noticed that there has been growth in black actresses and actors that are coming from the UK to America and acting in movies and stuff, and getting like top-notch movies. For instance, Idris Elba.
Right.
Daniel, what's his name?
Kaluuya.
Yeah, him. Her.
John Boyega's in this movie also.
Right. Also, what's his name from All American? Um, like there are like a lot of European, like European, but yeah, European black people coming over in these roles. I just want to know, like, are there like, is it because that black actors and actresses that are American aren't taking these roles or wanting these roles? Because you see the same black actors and actresses every time. We're not introducing any new ones unless they're from the UK.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I've actually noticed that, and you and I were actually talking about P Valley yesterday, which I've never seen P Valley, and
Once again, Autumn Night is from the girl who plays Autumn Night is from the UK.
right. I don't know at all, but I think that could be a good point to think about. I think that actually recently Idris Elba was talking about he was pissed off that a lot of people are having, kind of like the questions you have about them essentially taking over or, that's a good question.
Just something that I recognize because, like, I think of other actresses that also gonna play this movie, like, what's her name from? Can't think of her name from. If Bill Street Could Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Her, like, she could have also played this movie as well, but just to name like dark skinned actresses. I don't even think the lady from Starfire who plays Starfire on the Titans is. I think she's also British.
Hey, you know what? Maybe they're afraid of being typecast. You know,
Maybe.
You just don't know because once you
already typecast all of them anyway.
and that's true. Maybe you can't as the I don't want to say I was gonna say pretty, but I didn't mean it in that way because these ladies are pretty. But
gorgeous.
Right.
Gorgeous.
But like you were saying, maybe they are already typecast to not even get into a film like this. Yeah, maybe, yeah. That's an interesting thought.
Know that the leader has already happened for you. You're taken care of. Your blackness, your womanhood, your energy as a black woman is already settled. And there were so many things in the script that made me go, we're going to celebrate everyone's hair as individuals, as people, as characters.
Well, when you were greasing the braids, I was
Oh
like,
my gosh. Listen, I've been trying to get that moment in for like every single film. I slowed that down. I was like,
it's to me. My grandmother used to do that.
yeah, exactly.
And Larry, I can hear you. So if you ever need to butt in, but that is a interesting thought too about showing those kind of things because I feel like a lot of audiences who are not black don't know what natural hair or how much it takes, to do our hair.
Oh my God. Does it take a lot? Matter of fact, I need to put some oil on these braids now.
Saying.
Yeah, mothers did this too. Yeah, we all went through this.
So you and Viola have some incredible scenes.
And having someone like Whoopi on the show during that kind of conversation, I'm sure she's had to deal with a lot. I mean, she was in Ghost and she had to wear a wig, and you got to think about even a lot of today. Not that black people don't have straight hair, right? There's lots of people who have naturally straight hair. Kenya Moore. There's a lot of different black women who do have this luxurious, I guess if they want to say that kind of hair,
I don't think it's luxurious. I think I don't.
And by luxurious, I meant big. I'm sorry.
Yeah, black people don't understand that our hair is way better than any other race's hair because our hair is so versatile.
It's so durable.
It's so and it can last to our hair is built to last, and it's built to deal with any type of weather, any type of we can withstand long terms in the summer. We can withstand long terms in the rain or long times in the snow, and we can do that. Our hair, but we have been so urinized. I call it urinized. I don't think that's a word. We've been so said that Eurocentric things are better that we do try to go for that straight hair.
Yeah.
That if your hair is naturally straight, we understand that's fine. But I don't feel like we should be manipulating our hair.
No.
Unless you want to put a little color in it, because the one person I put it.
Right. And I wonder what it'll take for us to get away from that idea, because you gotta, like, there was a video this weekend that came out with a mother who was trying wigs on her daughter, and it's very viral, and I guess people thought it was funny and cute, but I didn't think it was cute at all. I thought it was really preparing her for not even loving her freaking self already.
But and also as well too. And this is a person who's come from the beauty industry.
Right.
A lot of times people use wigs as a protection.
Yeah.
So when men be like, well, I don't understand why she don't wear her natural hair. Too much heat on her, too much 350-degree heat, 60. So they're when you're flat ironing your hair, you're doing this stuff to your hair, that stuff damages your hair.
Mm-hmm. Breaks it off, yeah.
So I would rather put a bunch of heat to fake hair than to put it to my own. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, see, I understand that. I just wonder. I kind of worry about what that person was doing to her daughter was literally under 3. She's making her kind of like a TikTok baby essentially, and putting these wigs on. What does that do to a young child at that point growing up? If you never see your hair, if you never
I think it would make them unappreciative of what they already have.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Something that's very, very relevant to this topic. I went to a conference on Saturday, and I met Kirby, who's a singer and a songwriter. If anybody don't know Kirby, just go type in Kirby on Spotify, Apple, all of those things, and look her up. And she was talking about her hair. She was talking about how she didn't appreciate, she would wear the Brazilian and the Malaysian hair. She would put all that stuff in her hair, and it took her to. She's around our age, and it took her to 2016 for her to start being I love my hair.
Yeah.
And if you type Kirby the singer in, and you will look at her and you will see her hair. Her hair is huge, and it's all hers.
Right.
That is all her hair, and it is beautiful, and it's curly, and it was for her to have this beautiful mane, and she still does not appreciate it. Lets us know how brainwashed we are to feel about ourselves.
Yeah, and that's something that I think even recently, and there was a story about a grandmother who didn't, and actually there's a story we're going to get into about Tyler Perry not wanting to talk about his child with race, but there was a grandparent who didn't want her grandchild to play with a black doll, and I think that's a lot of the even calling women Barbie or black, the black Barbie thing, I really don't like it. It really bothers me because it puts us still into that mold.
Yeah. I don't know why black people want Barbies anyway. That bitch wouldn't have enough clothes. She was basic ass bitch.
Well, speaking of Barbies and things that white people feel or ostracize about, the Little Mermaid was a story that has taken over this whole entire thing. I just want to get into this clip, and like I said, butt in at any point and I'll stop it, and you can talk. But I want to get into this clip because this is something that's been going on this whole entire week. It's been very racist. This trailer has gotten over 10 million likes, but it has the most dislikes ever. A lot of white people are saying really horrible things, and I think white supremacy is alive more than ever. Yeah, we're going to talk about during our America is Racist segment. We're going to get into that more. But I wanted to bring this up because, you know, The Woman King is number one. It's number one, $19 million over this weekend. The budget's only $50 million. So it's gonna break its budget. It's gonna go over it, and we're gonna keep seeing more of these kind of films come out. But I want to get into this clip real quick.
The new trailer for The Little Mermaid is generating extraordinary reaction, especially among Black girls.
She's black! Oh, there's a black mermaid! She's like me!
Many of them are mesmerized watching a cherished fairy tale character who looks just like them. 22-year-old actress Halle Bailey stars as Ariel in Disney's new live-action film, and she looks nothing like the animated Little Mermaid with red hair from the original 1989 classic.
Wish I could be part of that world.
Parents have been posting these charming videos to social media, many saying how important it is that their daughters see themselves reflected on the big screen. An extraordinary 104 million people have viewed the sneak peek.
Oh, excuse me.
Apparently not everyone is happy to see a black Little Mermaid. Hard to believe, but the trailer has received more than 1.5 million dislikes on YouTube.
See?
Then there are the ugly, racist tweets. The Little Mermaid is white, not black.
What people have to understand is that this is a beautiful opportunity for young people to see themselves in a situation and in a way in which they have not before.
And I don't even think it's just for the Black people, right? I think it's for other children to see that there are multitudes of different.
But what people are failing to realize is this. Even in that 1989 original make of The Little Mermaid, there weren't Black mermaids.
Right, there were.
We saw one. We saw a few of them. I saw one of them. There was a short hair. She was like a short hair mermaid. If you ever watched The Mermaid, The Little Mermaid, or her sister, one of her sisters were Black. So the thing that bothers me is with this whole little racist thing that they got going on with The Little Mermaid. One, this is a fictional character, and her story does not align with the color of her skin. And I really hate when people use the whole thing. Well, how would you feel if they put Princess Diana as a white girl? That would no longer be The Princess and the Frog, because regardless of what you think, her story is like it like her skin color is relevant to the story. I can't unlike Cinderella, you can take a black lesbian, and let's be clear, they're mad because we always do it better. But
Right. I mean, but if you think about even, I don't know if you've seen some of the posts, some of the memes that have come up. There's like, you know, what if we change Martin Luther King's color to white? That's not the same, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a real person, stupid.
Right, and I don't.
And let's not pretend like y'all didn't have a white man playing Michael Jackson in this movie that just came out in 2016.
Let's not pretend you didn't have the Passion of the Christ where there was a white Jesus Christ.
Let's not pretend like y'all didn't whitewash the heck out of every person that the Kardashians have whitewashed.
Yeah. I mean, it's really dumbfounding to me what these people have begun to say.
And the sad part is, it's like a bunch of ignorant and like, well, what about the redhead girls? Y'all have braids.
Right.
Y'all, like, literally, if you take away one black first of all, Little Mermaid's not even a princess. One. Like, she's not even one of the princesses that falls under the thing of princess. Like, if you take away one princess, y'all are still going to have
so many.
9 princesses.
So many.
8 princesses.
Bailey.
You have Snow White. You have Sleeping Beauty. You have Cinderella. You have who's a warrior?
You have a lot. Let's just put it.
You have 2 fucking names.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many.
She's not focusing on the hate. I'm so grateful for what it will do for all the other little black and brown boys and girls who will see themselves in me.
She's brown.
And all she has to do is look at the excitement of the little girls embracing her.
She's black.
You know, that makes me a little it brings up a little tears in my eyes because people don't know what we go through, especially as children. What we always see as perfect, or like you were saying earlier about Eurocentric things that have been pushed down to us. They don't know that we don't get that. A lot of the movies and TV shows have been, white saviors always. Some kind of white knight. Anything. There's always some kind of white person who is, saves the black person, or there's never a feeling of we did it by ourselves, we overcame things by ourselves, and it didn't take a white person.
And you know what? And that's what brought me to. That's made me think about what we talked about the other day. We were talking about the birth of a nation and stuff like that.
Right.
It's easy. I feel like this way, and this is like another thing where I'm kind of like getting weary of slave movies and slave depiction, and because they always show our pain.
Right.
And they show how we overcome the pain, but there is never a story on there's never just like that movie where it's just we're on top.
Right.
The movies that we do have, we had a show on Fox called with Morris Chestnut and Yaya, and it's like this black they go to the Hamptons. It's like a Hampton Martha's Vineyard type of family.
Mm-hmm.
And it even though it had it's drama, but it was good to see black people in that space.
Right. And you know what I saw recently? I don't know if you heard of this show called Tom Swift.
Yes, the Tom Swift with the on CW.
So it was on and I didn't even know about this show until I saw it on HBO Max. And I read the description, and I literally, I got excited. I was like, oh my God. He's not autistic.
He's not. I thought he was autistic.
No, he's not autistic. He's very, very smart. He's.
But wasn't he socially messed up?
No, not at all. He's gay. He's a butch queen, as they say. And he's very smart, and he creates all kind of things. And the family is rich also, and there's literally no kind of gangster kind of things. There's nothing where they put us in a kind of negative light, or he's not a basketball player. He's literally a genius, and it's a beautiful show, and I love watching it because I never got to see that.
But the thing is, here's where they take those shows away from us.
And by the way, yeah, before you start that, it was canceled.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They take those shows away from us because they don't promote it to us.
That's exactly. Yeah.
Because and I'm gonna tell you how I saw it. I have the CW app on my computer, and I was watching I watch it on my regular shows like All American and Riverdale. I watch those shows like that, and I was like, this is a new show. I didn't even know that this show was coming out, and I watched that show along with Naomi. Mm-hmm. Naomi is about a black girl who's a superhero who's also a genius.
Wow, I never heard of it.
Yeah, but both of those shows are canceled.
And that's so crazy to me that you won't even give it a second season to flourish. You know what I'm saying? Because even when you watch Tom Swift, you see the character. I forget who plays him. He starts getting more into the character as it goes along, which is normal. You know what I mean? That he starts becoming the character. But they never even give an entire next season. You never greenlight it.
But the thing is, we're not watching it.
Well, like you said, it's not about us not watching it. It's not being promoted to us, right? Because I found this show randomly after it was canceled.
Yeah.
So, I do call on these people, Tyler Perry's and all these billionaires, to start doing a little more. Put some money behind your stuff. Stop the Jay-Z. I got into an argument with someone about this. put that money where it really needs to go.
But you know what though? They canceled another show on the CW that was predominantly black called the 4400.
Yeah, I've seen that show. Yeah.
Where they had powers as well. But it was a majority black cast. Majority black.
Right.
Like they canceled that show, and that show was amazing. Like it was like if anybody like if you have time, go and watch the 4400, and go and watch Naomi, and go and watch Tom Swift. Those shows are amazing.
Yeah.
But they will promote the hell out of trash to us.
That and that bothers me, because we need influences as well. They can tell us, oh, why don't you just go do your own thing? We don't. Y'all already know that y'all have more resources than anyone in this world. Y'all stole a lot of it, and you didn't have to pay you didn't have to pay anyone when you were creating this America. Okay, you had it for free for a very long time. So it's kind of stupid to me to say, well, why don't you go and do this and that? And on a free network like CW, we always have to watch things on a paid network. We have to go and search it out. Tom Swift is a really good show, and I really wish that more young black boys could see a show like that and get into it.
I just want this whole stereotype of you could be a basketball player, you could be a football player.
To stop.
And, like, as a teacher, and let me tell you something, how many kids I have just lost to just going to work because they didn't see themselves doing anything but playing football.
It's horrible.
They didn't see themselves doing anything but going to the NBA. Like, I don't even want to go to college because I didn't get a scholarship to play football.
And the thing is, even with that, you could get hurt in a second. You're done.
And I told them, and the thing is, I talked to him and told him that, and he was just like, it broke my heart to hear that. Like, because I asked him, like, so is so and so, like, is he at school? Like, does he could go to the college? No, he doesn't go. That broke my heart. Like, man, like the boy could sing. That was one. He could sing his butt off. And I told him, I said, if you want to go to college, and you feel like you can't pay for college, I can get you an audition with the choir, and they'll give you a scholarship. And he was so hell bent on playing football that he would not like go to anything else other than and the funny thing is my hometown, they literally glorify those guys who went to play professional football.
Yeah.
But you don't see those people who like left and this guy became a chiropractor with his own business. Like they don't want that. They don't want to celebrate those things.
Right. Yeah.
That's just not just us, that's everywhere. That's black people.
Well, yeah, and yeah, I mean, we don't get to see them in roles, even on TV and things like that. Like we were talking about how they just get canceled. It's the influence. Influence matters. It really just truly does. That's just period on everything. And they know that. They know that influence matters. I want to
see all this now. Ironheart comes out really soon. If you're not a Marvel fan, let me explain what Ironheart is. After Tony Stark died, there is a black girl, a black girl who takes with Vince what is called Ironheart. It is a show coming out about her soon on Disney Plus. Please, guys, please, check that show out.
Yeah.
And also check out the Spider-Verse as well, which is
okay. I mean, yeah.
It's a black girl.
Something that everyone's been talking about tomorrow. Well, no. By the time you guys hear this, she should be in the ground. She's been on a world tour. I feel like she's letting the Spice Girls. The Spice Girls are failing. I mean, the Queen has been on a world tour for the last few weeks. And not a world tour, but I'm being funny because she's been everywhere, but in the ground. I want to get into the story because Monday the 19th is when she will finally be buried. I want to get into this next thing. We're not going to talk too long about the Queen. We already did last week, or last episode, I should say. But here is a gentleman who's saying why we Africans shouldn't be mourning Queen Elizabeth II.
Join PC.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I didn't know there was going to be an ad. Let me get.
Without saying to Britain and everybody else who cares, we do not mourn the death of a colonizer and a murderer who came and killed our people, and she's wearing proudly a stolen goods on her head.
You know, he's saying a lot there. That damn crown that's sitting on top of her casket right now, it's worth, I think, like $300 million.
Yeah, no.
It's stolen goods. Yeah.
And I do not. I'm gonna say this loud. I'm gonna say it proud. I don't give a fuck. I called her a bitch, and she did. The bitch a thief.
She's a thief, and her people are a thief. And
and I really just I don't understand why they even still have keep the voice. You really don't do a damn thing. And let's just be clear. Even though we're giving them all the grief, you have to remember they're still under empowerment. So their empowerment is no better. It's pretty much like our president. The Queen, and they're really just like figureheads.
Right.
But the Parliament, everything, like London is just as trash as America. So.
Right.
We have nothing to do with the Queen. Today, people tweet, hey, we mourn the Queen. But when Helen Zille tweeted and said that not everything is bad about colonialism, you all said Helen Zille is a racist. How can she praise colonialism? By mourning and praising the Queen, you are celebrating colonialism. You are not different from Helen Zille. We were not colonized by the land called Britain. We were colonized by the leadership of Britain that killed our people. So we must not be asked to do wrong things here. We are very clear. The Queen does not represent anything good.
The EFF statement that was released after the announcement of her death. They wrote this on September 8, 2022. The EFF statement on the death of Queen Elizabeth. The Economic Freedom Fighters notes the death of Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, the Queen of the United Kingdom and the ceremonial head of state of several countries that were colonized by the United Kingdom. Elizabeth ascended to the throne in 1952, reigning for 70 years as a head of institution built up, sustained, and living off of a brutal legacy of dehumanization of millions of people across the world. We do not mourn the death of Elizabeth because to us, her death is a reminder of a very tragic period in this country and Africa's history. Britain, under the leadership of the royal family, took over control of this territory that would become South Africa in 1795 from Batavian control and took permanent control of the territory in 1806. From that moment onwards, native people of this land have never known peace, nor have they ever enjoyed the fruits of the riches of this land. Riches which were and still are utilized for the enrichment of the British royal family and those who look like them. From 1811, when Sir John Cradock declared war against Amakosa in the Zurville in what is now known as the Eastern Cape up until 1906, when the British crushed the Bambatha Rebellion, our interaction with Britain under the leadership of the British royal family has been one of pain and suffering, of death and dispossession, and of dehumanization of African people. We remember how Nsele died in the aftermath of the Fifth Frontier War, how King Hintsa was killed like a dog on the 11th of May 1835 during the Sixth Frontier War and had his body and his head taken to Britain as a trophy. It was also the British royal family that sanctioned the actions of Cecil John Rhodes, who plundered this country, Zimbabwe and Zambia.
I mean, I've always said, especially here, that Africa has been sucked dry from many, many people. Asia, everyone. Russia, they've been sucked dry.
They owe us. Like every freaking country owes Africa.
It's just so sad. I mean, we have never had a fair shake. We just never have. And,
And I think, but I know you're not a religious person, but this is something that I always like to say that this is what happens when you're chosen. When you're like chosen people. Like we would never see good days because our reward is probably bigger.
right.
But I think the problem why they keep doing this.
And by the way, I don't think you have to be religious to believe that. I definitely believe that. That's we're like you and I feel like we're good people, and we suffer.
I'm decent. No, I'm just kidding.
And I think our reward is bigger because we use our voices for things like what we talk about. Yeah.
Correct. And like I think that the problem is imagine this, if every black person all around the country goes back to Africa.
Yeah.
The powerhouse
Oof.
that Africa would be again. Because let's not forget there was a period in time where Africa was literally the birth of everything. Africa is the birth of civilization.
Well, and like I said on last week's show, we talked about, and Bill Nye the Science Guy, you're a white person, he confirmed we all came from Africa.
White people are mutants.
Okay.
Sorry. You have white listeners.
Okay, now listen. Well, there are, because I had people from around the world tell me to go to certain countries to get away from white supremacy. But what happened with their skin and why they are white is because they moved out of the heat pretty much, and their skin became more white.
They moved to the mouth of the Caucasus.
Yeah.
Where they live thinned out because of the frigid cold.
That's exactly what happened. So we all come from Africa. But and I'm gonna play this clip as we talk. Here she is, this person, the queen. She's leaving, but like I said, she's been on tour for the last few weeks. It's just, they've done a lot. They've done and they have some. Yeah, they actually had a lot of black guards that have been around her body, which I was very surprised by. I've been seeing. I've been seeing, a lot of this stuff. I'm very much you're into the news, but I'm also into the news. These people have done so much to black people, and like I said, they sucked Africa dry. And I wish that the people in Africa, the leaders in Africa would really open their borders up to the American people or American blacks to just offer us to come there without any extra bullshit, because that's where we really need to be, is Africa. We don't need to be here.
And I would love to create that civilization,
right,
where we take our talents and we teach our kids, and we teach and we produce our business, and we put money in our community. We put I would love that. And
the only way to do that is to get away from supremacy, and not saying that, and I've already said, I'm not going to keep saying that not every white person's bad. I'm not going to keep saying that, because there's no point in talking about that when we do know what goes on. We do know that they poison us, just like with the water in Jackson, Mississippi. We do know these things, okay? So people just turn a blind eye to it, and we can't. Okay, so when you talk about playing the race card and this and that, all that bullshit that you guys talk about.
There's no such thing as a race card.
And my thing is, y'all keep playing the game. Okay, y'all set up the game, and even Meghan Markle, that poor lady, she's been harassed by these people for all this time. She was out there shaking hands, and there were white people who didn't want to shake her hand. How crazy is that? That she's out there shaking hands with people, and they're like, no. During this procession kind of thing. Um, So yeah, like I said, the Queen goes into the ground to Monday the 19th, and
Bury that bitch 18 feet on it, so she can be closer to him.
they killed Diana. I mean,
Of course.
she was the only one doing a lot of things for the poor, and they couldn't stand that. And there's a lot of people who let.
And just to be honest with you, I thought Diana was her daughter. That lets you know how much of a fuck I gave about her. I thought Princess Diana was her daughter. Damn.
Yeah. No,
I didn't know it was her daughter in law.
No, she hated that. She hated Princess Diana.
Damn, did not know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah, but like the thing was funny was like I was seeing the memes of like when she died, like not when she died, but like when she
when the Queen died, yeah.
Yeah, they were showing like how Princess Diana gonna fight her in heaven. I'm like, first of all, Princess Diana's going to heaven. Princess Diana's in heaven.
Yeah.
Where she's going is gonna be real hot. But I was like, but they was like, why would she fight her mom?
Yeah, no, Princess Diana was really, she's the one who, and Meghan Markle is who they're kind of treating like Princess Diana right now. They're really treating Meghan Markle horribly over there. And Meghan Markle actually said, she never even thought about her as a black woman until she got to Britain. She never thought about her, because she's mixed. I don't know if you seen her. And a lot of mixed people don't think about race until they get racism on their front door.
And that is sad.
Yeah, I mean,
because we don't teach. And I know you hate this word, but I'm not even saying it.
Go, say, this is you. I need you to say what you want.
So this is why, like, my mother used to say all the time, like, I don't care how much white you got in you, they gonna see you as a nigga.
Always, yeah. I use that word on this show. Don't worry about that.
Like, they going to always see you as a nigga, like, no matter how much white you got.
Yeah, and a lot of people. Mariah Carey is a person who's always, people have gone back and forth with about her, but she's always been talked about her blackness, and she even said it's the one drop rule. You got one drop of black, you're black. Period.
And the thing is, like, I have Caucasian in my family.
We all do.
Rich and Caucasian in my family. And
we were raped, so yeah.
You said what?
Well, a lot of us were raped by.
Right. I have, so it's still like, cause I have like very fair skinned aunties and stuff, and some of my family, like, they're white pass. Some people can be white passing. So it's just that, and even going to like Southern, seeing those people who are biracial, and how they are treated once they get into a white area.
Yeah.
And you be like, oh, well, they told me that I was told. They be like, well, I feel like I'm not black enough, and I feel like I'm not white enough. That's something. Like, that's something you have to deal with. And Meghan Markle, like, the reason why black was because if you say that you're like meet your blackness, like with a matter of fact, a perfect example, Alicia Keys. We never had to question Alicia Keys' race because Alicia Keys has always been very pro-black. Like, she has always been that black woman, right?
Yeah, I mean, but she looks, more.
She looks what, black?
Yeah, I would say Alicia Keys compared to Meghan Markle, like back in the day when they had the like passing, where people would pass as white, and get away with it.
But even President Obama, he's biracial.
Yeah, but he's definitely black.
No,
You there are people who look black per se. But yeah, I mean it's a whole thing.
Just found out what's his name from what's that show? He's black.
Who?
He's white, but he's black. He has black. He's mixed. Oh, funny thing. I don't know if you ever seen Pretty Little Liars. You ever seen Pretty Little Liars?
No.
There was a show called Pretty Little Liars, and there's a character on Pretty Little Liars by the name of Spencer. Spencer is she plays a white girl on the show, but she's actually mixed. She's actually mixed. Tori Kelly. I'm pretty sure you heard of Tori Kelly.
Yes.
Tori Kelly is mixed.
I didn't know that.
She's mixed with Jamaican and white.
Okay, hold on. Now, I ain't trying to go down her bloodline, but Jamaican is, there are many white people in Jamaica. Now, what does she mean by she's mixed with Jamaican and white? Because there are white Jamaicans out there too.
Her father is a black Jamaican.
Okay, because Sean Paul is actually white, I believe, something like that.
You said what?
Sean Paul is actually white. The reggae singer, a rapper, whatever. Did you know that? Look like I shocked you.
No.
Yeah. Let's get. I think I got a few more minutes here before this thing kicks me out. I wanted to get into. I think I'm going to bypass this story because we are going a little long in the tooth because we do like to talk. Stacey Abrams, I think I was going to do this in the next segment anyway. Stacey Abrams is saying that abortion is a medical decision, not a political decision. I'm not gonna get into that right now.
We are on my stance on
Yeah.
abortion.
Yeah, women's rights, all that. Even trans men, who are able to get pregnant, are at risk of that. So, we'll be back. All right, y'all, we are back. I've got questions. Larry is back with me. And this time we are going into America is Racist. We are gonna first start with this story. Tyler Perry says he does not want to talk about race with his 7-year-old. This is Vicky Dillard, who is, I love her so much. She tells it like it fucking is. Let me tell you, she tells it like it is. Let's get into her.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Dillard, and I'm so pleased to be a contributor here on African Diaspora News Channel. Family, listen to this story. Tyler Perry, with his funny-looking self, has the nerve to tell AARP, which you all know that's the organization for 50-year-olds and up, for older, more senior, mature. Let's say I'm a mature generation because 50 is not old. And the AARP publication, they do have quite a few white subscribers, right? So he tells them, watch this, Tyler Perry won't be having the talk with his son anytime soon because despite increased racial tensions in the country, he doesn't want a 7-year-old to have to think about those issues. Not yet. It goes on to say, I don't want to tell him that there are people who will judge him because of the color of his skin, because right now he's in school with every race, and all these kids are in their purest form. When
What?
he describes his friends, he never defines them by race. This is such ignorance, family. The same way, some of you mothers, if you're in the kitchen cooking and you will warn your baby about staying away from the stove because you don't want your babies to get burned, there's a danger that exists. The same way, daddies, if you're outside cutting the grass or working on the car and you got the little one near you, you tell the little one, don't start up the car, don't touch the engine, don't do this because you don't want them to be harmed. If there's a car that's getting ready to come real quick around the block, you make sure to tell them stay within the yard, don't you go outside of the fence. When there is danger, you're supposed to mature and respond.
I mean, I think the difference here is that he's very, very, very rich. And I think that his child probably doesn't have to really worry about it right now. But I don't agree with it at all.
I don't agree with it at all because there was an episode of the Mexico show. There was an episode of All American where one of the characters on there is mixed and they're very well-off family, and they had a run-in with the police. And he thought that, because of the fact that he was one rich and that, all this status, his mom was the DA, he thought that because of that, he could get off with the police, but they still didn't see him for anything else other than the color of his skin.
Right. And that's what the same thing I'm saying about, the mixed people, and even some black people who never will say Black Lives Matter. They never, or black people who say they don't think about that race thing or they don't get into that, they never have to worry about it until it hits their doorstep.
Yeah.
Responsible parent prepares their babies for danger. Tyler, you don't look righteous, baby. You don't look holy. You don't look like, you're some saint. You look like a nut, a Wally walnut at that. You are someone, in my opinion, that's very dangerous for your child. And family, when you look at the publications that's covering this story, there are a lot of major white publications that are having this discussion about what Tyler Perry said. That should tell you everything you need to know there.
Right, and that's a lot of the danger, I feel like, when we don't talk about race as certain statures, right? Because you then allow people to say, well, Tyler Perry said it's nothing to worry about.
And the thing is that itself is a danger for everybody, not just him, not just your family within. It kind of invalidates everything that we preach, everything that we talk about.
Exactly.
There. Because when the white publications are discussing these kinds of things, they want the dominant society, to feel at ease, still being around us. That's them signaling to their audience that we're still no threat, even in the face of injustice and mass murder. That's letting them know everything is still all right. To oppress, to steal, to kill, to destroy. From black folks in America, and by extension, those around the world. That's very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into this next story. Police arrest a former Marine for disarming an attacker.
There's a man, a former Marine. He disarms an individual. Doesn't kill them like the police would have. Disarms a person. Police come. They lock up the veteran. Okay? He's the good guy here. Let's put his picture up full mass. Yeah, you guessed correctly. Lloyd Muldrow. All right? Mr. Muldrow is a good person. He did the right thing. Disarmed somebody without the need to kill them. Let me give you the background on this miscarriage of justice. According to the Washington Times, 57-year-old Lloyd Muldrow was meeting with friends at the Tequila Sunset Bar on July 4th when a fight broke out. Okay, people fight, it's a bar. Patrons Wesley Henderson and Marshall Cullen got into a fight. Henderson reportedly became upset when an ex-girlfriend began dancing with Cullens. So that is the genesis of the fight. Okay.
And I've told a story on here about, and I'm just going to remind people really quick. I was with a white female friend and we had nothing going on. Literally, we stopped at a bar to get a drink, had a drink, and this was the second time I was ever called nigger. We were walking out the bar, right? So we sat there for about 25, 30 minutes. Walking out the bar, my back towards the door, someone says, nigger. I turn, at first, she was like, oh my God. And then, I'm walking out and I was like, you know what? No, I turned back around, walked back inside, and I just stood there and no one said a word. Not one word was said. So what it actually turned out, and then we found out later, it was a friend of mine's, a white friend of mine's dad, who was a part of the fire department or some kind of law enforcement kind of thing. So that meant he was around town doing whatever anyway. So, these kind of things do happen when you're just a black person. You're the only black person, huh?
Minding your business.
Yeah, you're the only black person minding your business, not doing anything wrong, and then they see you, and nigger is the first thing they say.
According to the ex-Marine, the former Marine, Mr. Muldrow, Henderson brandished a firearm, took out a gun, and said, and I quote, "I'll kill everyone." Well, obviously, everybody got scared, except for this ex-Marine. Henderson reportedly hit Collins several times with the gun. Collins was bleeding profusely. Muldrow, who served in the Marine Corps Security Force Regiment, reacted by knocking Henderson to the ground and holding him down until the police arrived. When I got there, I saw him, Collins, bleeding profusely from his head. It looked like he had a gunshot wound to his forehead, said the former Marine. "I have taught Marines hand-to-hand combat for many years," added Muldrow. "I have disarmed several enemies," he goes on to say, "as well as IEDs, which are improvised explosive devices. My natural reaction was to do as I was trained for my country." The police arrived and did not find Henderson's weapon, despite the witnesses confirming the man had brandished a gun, that he had a weapon. However, the former Marine, Mr. Muldrow, was armed with a registered .22 caliber Beretta M9. He had it in his holster, on his hip. While several police officers reportedly thanked him for stopping the altercation, a supervisor came. So keep in mind, nobody has arrested Mr. Muldrow. They thanked him. "We appreciate what you did here. You probably saved lives. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your service to the country and to the citizens today." Then a supervisor comes. Supervisor comes, he decided to arrest Mr. Muldrow. He ordered his officers to lock him up and charge him with a weapons violation and aggravated assault. Do you hear me? A weapons violation and aggravated assault. He assaulted nobody. Every witness said, "No, this man saved our lives. Why are you arresting him?" All right, at question is this. The cops could not find the firearm. Let me go ahead and help everybody peep game, because obviously the police don't know what happened. There was a gun. He brandished the gun, and I believe he said exactly what all the witnesses say he said. When the fight broke out, and Mr. Muldrow was able to disarm the man, that man had somebody in the restaurant that had his back. His gun. That's all that happened. It's nothing more. Every witness said they saw the gun. They are not connected to Mr. Muldrow.
But, the only thing I could imagine, too, is that also this guy was the attacker. He must have been friends with the cop.
Yeah.
And that's why when we talk about defunding the police and whatnot, it's simply because you don't know who's who.
Yep.
I mean, just talk about the insurrection. There are lots of guys who were cops.
Police officers.
Yeah, so we just don't know. Yeah, we don't know who's who.
Yeah. Honestly, we are the only country where a police officer carries guns. So, number one. Because their objective is never to protect. Their objective is to kill. This was like, you can't take something that was built out of racism and try to make it for the people.
Right.
Like,
and I've said this, remind people of why the police were made. They weren't made for protecting, they were made to stop black people.
They were made to kill black people.
Yeah.
It wasn't even to arrest them, it was to literally shoot them on sight.
Yeah. From the beginning.
From the beginning, and that's what they've been still doing. Shooting us on sight.
Yeah. As we continue on with this America's Racist, and we're going a little quick, just because I want Larry to stay a part of this, because he does have to shootout. We're gonna go into this next story, and this should, talk to you a little bit more because you've been a teacher and educator for so long. This former principal has finally been charged. Now, he was not charged. It's a 3-month-old video. He was never charged until public outcry finally did something. This child that he shoved is autistic, and he just. And have you seen this video?
No.
Okay. Perfect. So I want to see your reaction to this, and let's take a look at this.
A former school principal in California faces a misdemeanor charge after a 3-month-old video of him pushing a student with special needs has come to light. The Fresno Unified School District says Brian Volhart was put on administrative leave after the June incident. He resigned in August following an internal investigation. The video from inside the cafeteria of a school shows the student, who officials say is 11 years old, getting upset and pointing at Volhart. Instead of de-escalating the situation, according to the superintendent, Volhart aggressively shoved the child down to the ground. The district says the student is physically okay, and they have been working to support him and his family since the incident occurred. The district says it took immediate action against Volhart.
There is absolutely no excuse for this appalling behavior, and this conduct is absolutely not tolerated.
Now they can try to clean this up if they need to, but they removed him from that school, and then he became a vice principal somewhere else. So Misty Her, fuck off, Misty Her, because you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything until this video got blown up.
People aren't meant to be over certain people. Like, I really feel like, and this is gonna bring probably some people be like, you need to probably shut the fuck up. I think I've told you before. I really do feel like segregation was a great idea.
Well, just because you do have to go, so explain what you mean by that.
So, like with the ideal of separate but equal. Like, as long as we're separate but equal, I'm okay with that. And like, we can be separate, we can be distant, we can run our own banks, run our own schools, run our own stores, run our own towns. We can do all of these things separate but equal. Because when you start like mixing that stuff in, like I think that Black people as a whole lost something when we went into integration. Mm-hmm. And it built for a bigger platform for students to be like, not students, it built up for white people to be racist, but be racist on a bigger level, on a level where it's sneaky and it's not really seen, but it's still done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And like, at least with segregation, you had like race, like because we were all over everything, and you couldn't really affect us from making our money, and making this and doing this, because we're not being basically, we're not even ran by we're not following by your game or playing your rules of your game. Once it became integrated, now you've put us in a situation where now we have to play the game that the rules have been set against us.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But we still, even if we were segregated, and not that I disagree with what you're saying, like we're going to talk about with the water, it's what they control, right? So even if we were segregated, we would still have to worry about what they could do to us in some kind of form, policing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even understand why there are white police officers in Black neighborhoods. I will never, ever understand that.
And that's what I mean. So stuff like that. So, I feel like we should be able to power over our people, our own people.
Right.
Like, we should be able to, because we know what we need. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we know how to interact with us.
Yes.
I feel like as a police officer in a police district, a police officer should not govern over a community unless he's from there.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, like, I feel like because let's take my little small town. We have like 7 neighborhoods, and we have like areas called the Brickyard, the Round Yard, the Riverton. I feel like if I'm not from the Brickyard, I shouldn't govern, I shouldn't protect or police in Riverton.
Because you don't understand.
Because I don't know the culture over there.
Right.
I know the culture in the Brickyard, so
right.
I should be able to do what I need to do in the Brickyard.
Right. But instead, they want to make sure that veterans are, officers first, and they come back and they want to kill brown people anyway, black and brown people anyway. Let me skip that because I really want to talk about this really quick, or get into this. Let's just start this up. I'm at the 18-minute mark with you. You told me 30 minutes I had, so let's go.
The players on Callaway High School's football team are continuing to show up for practice despite the fact that their city is in the middle of one of the worst water crises in modern American history.
You ain't got no water at home, and it's a struggle to get water right now. Make sure y'all get a case of water from back there and take home with you, okay? If you need something washed, leave it in the pile right here. Everybody good? I just get a break.
With only a day left before a game against their biggest rival, the district was scrambling to find a school with running water for the teams to play. What kind of struggles are your players coming to you with?
The biggest issue that they are having is that they come to as coach. I go home and I can't even take a bath. So I try to structure my practice to where we're not on the ground as much. We know that these are hard times and a lot of people have to deal with it in different ways. So as coaches, we want to be there for them to help.
Coach Brown lives outside of Jackson and has resorted to doing the team's laundry so they have clean clothes to wear at practice, games, and school. Little to no water has meant no showers after practice and nothing to drink from the tap.
For people that, don't play football and don't understand what it is to play in Mississippi heat,
the heat different.
Yeah. Could you play a whole season with the water crisis the way it is?
Nah. I bring my own water.
You don't drink out the fountains at all?
No, because, we had history, with Jackson. It's we're always on the water. At a point in time, you never know when you want. So you can't really trust the water. Yeah.
Does it ever make you mad knowing that you're up against football teams that haven't had to go through what you guys are going through?
No, it make you work harder. Make you want to move.
And isn't that the story with black people? And that's why I think that we've become so desensitized to so many things where we don't rally together as much because you just have to keep working no matter what. You just have to keep going. You live in Mississippi. Go ahead, speak.
So one, this reminds me of Flint. It's the same Flint situation.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that high school is literally right around the corner from where I was. This early, I was at my aunt's house, and they stayed literally around the corner from there.
Wow.
So when I walked to my aunt's house, I saw like big old jugs of water from the water you put into the dispensers.
Mm-hmm.
So several big jugs of that, and me asking them, how are y'all showering? How are y'all cleaning? How are y'all able to do this? And they were like, well, we boil our water and we put it to the side, or we take some water. We got we gotta take a shower. We take a little bit of this water from the gallon, and we'll pour it in a bowl. Pour it, what we gotta do is boil it, get it hot, and then from there we'll start really clean. It'll stay hot long enough for us to wash our bodies. That is barbaric.
Right.
That is a situation. That's what people do when they don't. It's hard to explain when you're in it, because when you're in it, it shows that people don't the things that are minor basic needs. minor basic needs of just needing to have like just basic things, like just something as small as water, can be controlled by racism. And you look at it as, what the fuck can we do? You are willing, because here's the thing. So the surrounding areas, Brandon, Madison, Ridgeland, these are all towns and cities that surround Jackson Metro. Jackson is mainly full of black people. The only place that's having this issue with water is Jackson. Right? Ridgeland, where my cousin stays, she stays like a little bit down. She stays in Ridgeland. I was like, so are y'all having an issue? Like, no, we haven't had an issue at all. Ridgeland, Madison, no, we're not having an issue at all. Brandon, we're not having an issue at all. And these are all predominantly white places. It is alarming. Like, you can't even go to a restaurant. I went to Zaxby's, and I ordered some food from Zaxby's. They were like, well, we can't give you any ice, so we're just going to give you, so they gave me a canned soda.
Wow.
Because of the fountain. But that is just something that's minor. Like, imagine having to brush your teeth in the morning.
Wow.
Imagine having to, like, take a shower. Like, I stayed in the Airbnb in Jackson earlier this day, and I was so afraid to take a shower. Like, now I'm afraid to take a shower right now, but they said that the water quality, like, it's better, but, you know, let your water run on hot for a while. So,
and I bet you you're still getting taxed for your water bill.
Yeah, pretty sure they are.
You know, it's you get fucked coming or going.
Yeah, you do, and it's ridiculous because you have to live through these conditions regardless of, like, because some people ain't got it. No, some people ain't got it. Some people don't have anywhere to go.
And imagine being a person who is going through this and then you're late for work and your job fires you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we get hit from everywhere, and like the young boys were saying, no, we just have to work harder. Look what we go through, and y'all say, don't play the race card, stop worrying about race, stop it.
And you know what? And the governor, our beloved, stupid, retarded, ignorant ass governor, said something when he went to Hattiesburg. If you don't know about Hattiesburg, Mississippi, Hattiesburg is where the University of Southern Mississippi is, and that is a predominantly white institution. So majority of the people that stays in Hattiesburg are Caucasian. He went down to Hattiesburg and made the comment of, I am so happy to be out of Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh. Not a care in the world.
This is the same man who turned funds around, who returned funds for health care. Because he didn't want quote unquote a liberal handout. This is the same man who allowed rich people to steal money from welfare. And the sad part is people keep voting in people like this.
Right. Well, they're voting by racism.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, it's like Trump, right? He didn't do anything for anyone, but you keep wanting him to win because he's racist. And you were talking about rich people with welfare. By the way, recently Brett Favre, one of the most known about NFL players, the Mississippi welfare fraud case. He is another person who's currently in a fraud case about welfare. Brett Favre.
Yeah, he's from Mississippi. Rich people still in welfare.
Yeah.
So, and also as well too, like it's. I can't, and the funny thing is, I can't even fully blame white people. And it sickens me because Mississippi we are so complacent with what we've been given. Black people in Mississippi we've been through so much shit in Mississippi to the point where we are so desensitized.
Yeah.
We're just like, okay.
As long as you get to live to the next day, it's like that's all it is.
It's very much so that it's like we've had, but everywhere, like everywhere treat us like we are less than.
Yeah.
People, even our own black people, treat us like we're less than. I can't tell a person I'm from Mississippi because they're gonna automatically think I'm ignorant. I had a guy literally while I was at work. He was like, so where are you from? I said, I was born and raised here in Clarksdale. He was like, you were born and raised here? I was like, yes, I was born and raised here in Clarksdale. He was like, I don't hear it. I said, what do you mean? He was like, no, I don't like it. I don't hear the accent. I don't hear a Clarksdale accent. It sounds like you're more so from up north.
Because you're educated.
I was like, no, sir. Well, so I'm not sure where it comes from because my whole family talks like this. So, I don't know what Clarksdale sounds like.
Right, and I mean it's something we go through so much, and if you could send $12 billion in aid to the Ukraine, why in the world is Jackson, Mississippi having to get water from Georgia?
That's not even it. If you could send that much money to Ukraine, why is Flint, Michigan still having the same issue?
Same. Newark. Why is Newark having the same issue? Newark, New Jersey.
That's for real. Why is New Orleans still suffering from Hurricane Katrina?
Why?
Why is Lake Charles still suffering from Hurricane Gustav?
Yeah.
Not Gustav, but the last one, the one that just passed by. These are questions that you have to ask yourself. These are questions you have to ask the government. And every time we bring this topic up, now you have to deflect to something else. We're going to stop student debt. I don't give a fuck about the laws.
Right. I can't even drink water.
The laws are going to be in default until I can pay them.
You can't even have clean drinking water. They want you to be excited about this and that.
I don't give a fuck about a student loan. Because that $20,000 that you want to take out for my bill, I'm about to get it back by going to grad school. So I'm not understanding why is this a topic? We need to talk about what's really going on. Your job is not to argue shit that you're arguing. And then even for black people to be so blinded by a lot of the shit that goes on, instead of it's like that you ever seen Up on Disney?
Yeah.
The dog, he would talk, he'll say squirrel. And go right back to the conversation. I feel like that's a lot of times what black people do.
Well, again, and not that I disagree with that, but we know why. Because we have too much on our plate.
We do.
And until we stop...
You expect us to be law-abiding citizens. You
Right.
expect us to be effective citizens of society.
Right.
You expect us to be movers, shakers, everything. You expect us to be everything, but you tell us y'all are lazy, y'all don't want to work, y'all don't want to do anything. When you've taken away everything that we have tried to do for ourselves.
Right.
You have taken it. You can't even give us something as a basic human need, and that is water.
In America.
If I am homeless, I should still be able to get clean water.
In America. This is America.
And people want to come here. And the funny thing is, people want to come here, and black folks are like, no, you don't.
Right.
But the ones who want to come over here are white people.
Or Indian or Asian.
Or Indian, those people who they don't see as a threat, so they treat them better than they treat us.
Yeah.
And let's just be honest. The reason why we have gone this far is because of black people. Had there been none out here, no black people here, y'all would still be shitting in a pot and throwing it outside.
And they don't recognize that. They don't really recognize or give tribute to us that we, because of us, because we walked, because we got beat, because we were murdered and raped and lynched and everything, that they are allowed to be here.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Larry, I totally appreciate your conversation, as always. I'm very happy that you were able to speak from a Mississippian, I guess that's what you would call it, point of view, especially on this topic. But I do wish you well. Obviously, we're going to talk later, or sometime. I do wish you well. And like he said, Larry said, he will be having an event next April. Look up his page, 50 Yard Stitch. It's 50 YARDSTICH, 50 Yard Stitch. To hit him up about this event and all of the great things that he does. He does a lot of great things for the community, and I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you inviting me on your show. This has been fun.
My first guest ever.
I know, and I am flattered. I am so flattered, love. Like I'm terribly flattered.
You're most welcome, love.
So I do thank you, and make sure you have me back sometime.
Oh, you will. You must come back. You must come back because we were supposed to do more, but we talked so long in the first segment. So I do appreciate even everything that you've given to us in this audience. We really appreciate it. I appreciate it definitely wholeheartedly. Go do your thing. Be safe out there, and we'll be back, guys. All right, and we are back. This is I've Got Questions. Again, I want to thank my friend there, Larry, for joining us on Le Programme. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate it. We're going to keep going with the news now. Let's get into this Philadelphia man who walked over 400 miles to retrace the Underground Railroad in honor of Harriet Tubman, who was a great woman, a warrior, the woman king. Let's say she is one of the women kings that have graced our presence in this world.
It's good to be in Buffalo. Sometime between yesterday and this morning, I crossed over the 400-mile mark.
Ken Johnston is a walking artist from Philadelphia, and he's walking to honor Harriet Tubman and others by retracing the walk to freedom on the Underground Railroad route.
This journey is to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Harriet Tubman's birthday.
A journey he started in December 2019 in Maryland, a place Tubman traveled to rescue her brothers.
It was supposed to be kind of a low-key walk, but then her story just kind of overwhelmed me, and after completing the first 140 miles to Philadelphia, I wanted to keep going. And that's what she said. If you want to taste of freedom, just keep going.
COVID put the brakes on the walk, but in 2021, he walked from Philly to New York City, and this year, on July 14th, he resumed the final leg.
From Harlem, where...
Now, let's just be, because I was wondering, 2019, I'm like, damn, you were walking slow. Obviously, as they just said, he took some breaks. The people who had to travel on the Underground Railroad, which was not so long ago, I think, not Sunny Hostin, she had put something up about, white people having to have this thought that, pretty much, slavery and things of that nature was so long ago, but it really, really wasn't. And I got in the mix of that and talked about it too, because there is that thought that, it happened so long ago and, just get over it. And it's just like, y'all are still benefiting off of what happened. And not just white people, y'all, I mean the government, y'all. Because I had to get into some lady's ass pretty much and let her know, stop thinking about well, let me say this. You want to always wonder, and I told her, about who's going to pay for it. Are white people going to pay for it? And not ever is the thought that actual white people, my neighbor and the whoever down the street, as a white person would have to pay for reparations. And I'm trying to figure out where that thought could really, really come from, and how stupid you must be to really think that you're going to go into your pocket and pay black people. That's just a dumb idea. And just for you thinking it, I have to call it stupid, because why would you think that, right? And it must be something that these Republican and other people who want you to kind of think, so you can have these thoughts against reparations, because there's no one who would ever think that. I don't think any black person is going to think a white person who's standing right next to them should be paying them from out their pocket. That's not a true thought. The government, in fact, is who should be paying, just like they paid the Native Americans, just like they paid Jewish people reparations. Black people have never gotten their fair share. 40 mules in a mile, 40 acres in a mule, excuse me, was never really given, because, we've seen land taken away and, black people's farms taken away, and black farmers are still going through things, which I think we talked about on the last show, about how black farmers are treated in this country. But the thought that, you would think that you're going to come out of your pocket is just a stupid idea, and it really continues to just show how you don't want to really think about what happened. You only want to think about where the money's going to come from. And I don't know how that thought really has protruded in their heads, when obviously you weren't there, and neither was I. But guess what? My people, the black people, had to suffer and are still suffering from systemic issues of racism. And I know we already went through America's Races, but clearly, the topics around race are everywhere. Again, I don't think black people want to think about racism. We don't want to, but we keep getting hit by it from every which way we can, and every which way we walk down the street, barbecuing, bird watching, whatever. It seems to always come our way, and in the form of police brutality. I was watching a video earlier where a man was getting thrown out of court because he, had an issue with, I guess, whatever the ruling was, but he was voicing his opinion, and this white cop grabbed him by the neck, and the black cop, there was a black cop who was arresting him also, who did not agree with that, and he stopped him. And I immediately said, this is why they need to be defunded, because here you have two police officers with two different ideotas, I guess, of what should be going on right now. One is grabbing him by the neck, and one is just removing him. That thought that we must be so aggressive towards black people is instilled in police. It truly is. And I'm not going to go one by one, cop by cop. I can't do that because of what happens, right? So I really feel still, the funding the police really needs to happen. And that doesn't mean we're not going to have police, because there are people who break the law. We do need people to protect citizens. But what we don't need is, the rough housing and whatnot. And I think that, doing what this guy's doing by walking the 400 miles is, pretty admirable. It's something that many people can't even do, and which is why he probably took those breaks. But you got to really think about all the people, the black people who tried to get away from racism and slavery, and were killed as they did try. So again, I think that what he's doing is admirable, but the horrors that they had to go through while trying to get away from hate, you can't not think about that.
There is a Harriet Tubman memorial statue. This is Ken walking in Rochester. He made it to Buffalo with a clear sign on his back. He's going from New York to Canada.
This was that endpoint of that corridor to freedom. free black community that was here at that time during the 1850s when she would have been traveling through this area, welcomed her, assisted her and her passengers.
Welcome, the mural where we met, ironically painted by his brother. Tubman was often called Black Moses for leading people out of slavery. The famed abolitionist face will eventually be on $20 bills. History with a stamp right here in Buffalo. And Ken Johnston is soaking it all in and educating along the way.
I hope to just continue telling the story of what it felt like for the soul of souls that came this way, what it felt like the sensory experience under their feet, however they traveled here.
His journey ends in an area where Tubman and others found freedom.
Salem Baptist Church that Harriet Tubman attended in St. Catherine, Ontario.
Claudine Ewing, Channel 2.
And if you look at, him, and like I said, it's definitely admirable, his story and what he's doing and why he's doing it. And of course, while he's doing it, he must feel, but I got to look at him and just think about, he has on these very good walking shoes. That's not something they had. He had a backpack that, is probably lined and made sure that the rain wasn't going in his backpack to make things wet. They didn't have things like that. So, like I said, it's very admirable what he's doing, but I think we still have to remember we could never really know what they went through trying to get away from hate, but it must have been really hard and really tough to obviously it was, but just walking 400 miles, that's a lot, especially back in the day, and trying to hide from people that were filled with hate and brutality in their hearts. Next story I want to get into, and this is a story that a lot of people have been talking about, and I've talked about human trafficking on here, and I've gotten pretty emotional about it because human trafficking, period, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, it has no soul identity. These people prey upon people who are just trying to, most of the time just go into the store, and then they get stolen or kidnapped and then forced into a life of horror. Let's get into the story. A 17-year-old human trafficking victim was ordered to pay her alleged rapist family. What kind of judge are you to actually strike down a decision like this?
Tonight, a teenager, the alleged victim of unspeakable crimes of human trafficking and rape, after fatally stabbing her alleged rapist, will stay out of prison. But a court ruling Piper Lewis must pay $150,000 to the family of the man who raped her.
The events that took place on that horrific day cannot be changed, as much as I wish they could.
17-year-old Lewis pleading guilty to involuntary manslaughter and willful injury in the 2020 killing of 37-year-old Zachary Brooks. She says he raped her multiple times in the weeks before his death.
I wish the events that took place on June 1st, 2020 never occurred. But to say there's only one victim to this story is absurd.
Her charges punishable by up to 10 years each in prison, but the judge taking a different path at sentencing.
Ms. Lewis, I will defer your judgment.
Lewis given 5 years of probation, but she could be sent to prison if she violates any part of that. Her conviction also carries an automatic requirement by Iowa law to pay restitution to Brooks's estate. The judge saying the court was, quote, presented with no other option. Lewis is
you had another option, bro. You definitely had another option. Is to not do that. That wasn't an option, to not make her have 5 years of probation. And you gotta really think about what probation is. And a lot of people don't. They just see someone who may have committed something or a crime and then handed down a sentence, and they're just like, well, I guess that's the law or whatever. But it's really not. Probation can be very, very difficult. You could literally have an emergency, have to go, if you're home confined, have to go to the hospital or something. And you could go back to prison if a judge decides, well, I still told you what to do and then you didn't do it. I think Meek Mill is a rapper, he is a good example of that, where he wasn't really doing anything and then had to go back and fight, a sentence because he was on probation. And 5 years is such a long time where you could mess up in the slightest of way and be sent back to prison. 5 years where you have to pretty much, live perfectly to their standards, to the judicial system standards, which can be very tricky.
Attorney disagreeing at sentencing.
If you defer judgment, Mr. Brooks' estate is not entitled to any restitution whatsoever. And frankly, his estate doesn't deserve it because of his own conduct.
A GoFundMe started for Lewis has now exceeded that amount, saying the excess money will support her continued education. Lewis was just 15 when she stabbed Brooks more than 30 times in a Des Moines apartment. Officials say she was a runaway, seeking to escape an abusive foster home. Piper said in court that a man took her in before forcibly trafficking her to other men for sex. She testified that one of those men was Brooks, who repeatedly raped her at knife point. We reached out to Brooks' attorney, but have not heard back. Police and prosecutors have not disputed Lewis was assaulted and trafficked, but they have argued that Brooks was asleep at the time he was stabbed and not an immediate threat.
Oh my God. Y'all are horrible. You're horrible people, right? Here's a lady. No, she's not a lady. She's a girl. A young. I don't like using girl for older women or women pretty much over 18, 21. Here's a young girl who was taken at 15 years old and then raped over and over and over by this man. But because he was asleep, you have a problem with that? So when I need to escape a brutal person, a horrible maniac, if he's asleep, I should just, let me tiptoe. I'm gonna tiptoe out and get out of here. We have stories from everywhere, and I talked about Stockholm Syndrome with black people, but Stockholm Syndrome is, it has no real victimology, right? You can literally be like, there's the story of these 3 women in Ohio who were kidnapped, and they were held for over 13 years, something like that, in this guy's house. And if you have the chance to get away, you're going to try, and you should try. And you should not be held accountable for what happens when you finally break free. Because her stabbing him 30 times, you may hear that as excessive, but you have to remember, this is someone who was held at knife point, being raped, okay? And then made to have sex with people that she did not want to have sex with, right? Because she's a female, and then these men are monsters. So then you have this young girl who's held at knife point, who then has I would say PTSD at that point, because once you have a knife in your hand, yeah, you're probably gonna go fucking berserk. You're not gonna be on some, oh, well, I'm gonna stab him once and run. No, you wanna make sure he's not moving, okay? So you can make sure you get away. So to hold her down, like the way this judge is doing, it's disgusting.
Today telling NBC News they, quote, recommended that she goes to a woman's facility to provide structure and deal with the issues that she has. Advocates argue her actions were the result of the trauma she faced.
Right.
Many of the things that we heard during the trial around not only what she experienced, but also her reactions to that are very common trauma reactions for survivors.
Thank you. That's literally what I just said. You suffer through trauma. You're going to have a visceral reaction when you get the chance to be free. And you will burn everything down because you never want to see that person again. So for them to do this to her, and she's such a young, beautiful woman or girl who now has to remember this, not even just after getting away from this man, but now for 5 years, she must be held down by the judicial system. And also, I think she's also forced to go and speak to young girls about her experience.
Not uncommon. Of the more than 25,000 cases of children who had run away and were reported missing to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in 2021, The center says 1 in 6 were likely victims of child sex trafficking. Lewis is not the only alleged child sex trafficking victim to kill an abuser, but she is one of the few to avoid prison time after such a crime.
That does feel in some ways like a win, though, to be really real and really frank, the way that our criminal legal system works, 5 years probation in a controlled facility means that you don't have any wiggle room.
That day, a combination
And that's what I just said. Yeah, no wiggle room.
resulting in the death of a person as well as stolen innocence of a child.
Maya Eaglin joins us now. Maya, this is a really sad and complicated story. What's next for Piper? Where will she go now?
So Piper spent the last 2 years in a juvenile detention center. She completed her GED, and now prosecutors are recommending that she head to a women's facility. The judge even mentioning that facility will help provide her the structure to successfully complete that probation period.
You mentioned there was a GoFundMe page. How much has she been able to raise?
So far, over $260,000 from over 6,000 donations.
And that number has been updated as of September 18th, which was 2 days. A few days ago. The GoFundMe has now, and if you see on my screen here, is now at $500,000, which is amazing. And I hope that that they make sure they get this money to her. This person was 37 years old, raped her repeatedly over the course of weeks in 2020. They actually charged her with first-degree murder. Oh my God! I mean, we should be able to sue these people as citizens, for not representing us, because you can't be a citizen in this country and really think that this young girl should face probation, first-degree murder, and have to pay someone, right? You should not. I don't think any woman or man would agree that she should face what she's facing right now. So it looks like she's netted over $540,000 in donations, more than 3 times the amount owed to Brooks's family, which is, how do you give a rapist and a kidnapper's family $130,000? So why? Because that usually happens in kind of where if something happens to someone and they die, their family gets money because they were like a good family member, good part of the community, something like that, where they get some kind of relief, But excuse me, how in the hell? Because I was gonna F you guys up just now with the F word. How is it that a black teenager who was trafficked and raped by the person in your family, you get paid $130,000 because your family is $150,000 because you lost a member of your family? I gotta say, I don't want you a part of my family. I'm happy you're not there anymore, because you were gonna bring disgrace up. You should be thought of as bringing disgrace upon my family rather than anything else. This is what we face. And there's another story about something that I thought was pretty ridiculous. Here in Georgia, in Atlanta, there's a man, his name is Shaka Zulu, who's managed Ludacris and other people, who is facing something similar, I kind of think. He's facing murder charges and whatnot, aggravated assault charges from this crazy district attorney that we have here in Atlanta, who has a reckoning against rappers and black males, and she's also black. And as I said on this show, there's not a shortage of black people who don't hate black people, because I know that they've been taught that by various media or mediums of the media. But she is out of freaking control with this. Okay, there's a video of this incident where this guy Shaka Zulu is walking from a club or something like that, and these guys were waiting for him. They plotted to wait for him to come to where his car was. They were actually standing by his car. They then jumped him, right? They jumped him, were kicking him in the head and all that, punched his assistant in the face, a female assistant. They punched her in the face a few times. He shot one of the guys, and now he's going, he has all these charges against him. I mean, how do you defend yourself in this country anymore? How can you be free in this country and live prosperly? Is that the right word? Where you are attacked, brutalized, and then you face charges. Should I die? Should I continue to be raped and trafficked? These are the questions I have. Comment below if you're on YouTube watching. Please comment below your thoughts and ideas on these kind of things. This is something that's happened to me, actually. White employees allegedly refused to deposit casino check for a black woman. Let me get right into it before we start any talking.
A Detroit woman is filing a federal lawsuit against a Michigan bank alleging. A Detroit woman is filing a federal lawsuit against a Michigan bank alleging that white employees refused to cash and deposit a casino check that was given to her. Lizzie Pugh, she says that she won the money after playing slots at a Michigan casino. She says that the 3 white bank employees told her the 5-figure check was fake and refused to give it back to her. The bank eventually gave it back to the woman who says that she got it cashed at a nearby Chase Bank. I mean, great to know that the check was able to be cashed because, first off here, I know I have a family history of casino people, so I know that it takes long hours. Sometimes you are there for all day to make this money, and so I put hard-earned money in our open because that is hard-earned money. Sometimes people are cashing their rent to make this money. So when you cash a 5-figure check, you want that check to be cashed without any problems. And so to know that there are 3 white employees that had the audacity and the gall to deny this check, one, it is not your money, Ms. Bank Teller person. It's not your money. Let the bank system thingy with let them figure it out. Not you.
Right. And that's the thing with white people at times. And I've said on the show, I'm not going to keep breaking it down to, only some white people, this and that. Y'all know who's not racist and y'all know who's playing the damn card. As y'all say, we play the card, y'all playing the damn game. Right? You like to try to act like police more than what your actual job is. Your job is not to do this or that. Your job is to do what it says when you were hired and not to investigate. You are not the investigator. You are not the person that is to prove someone's being fraudulent. That's supposed to go through the system. Now, if it looks like you can see when something looks fake, counterfeit. But when she gives you a check, and you wouldn't challenge that if it was a white person. You only wanted to challenge that because she was black. And that's horrible. Because I've had the same issue. Okay? I've had the same issue where I went to get a certain amount of money that was in my account. And then I had ID, I had my debit card, and I knew my PIN. We don't do, all this kind of stuff to try to hold me up and see if I'm going to run away. That's what they do. They want to ask you multiple questions, and I don't need to prove nothing to you. Who the hell are you? You're just a teller, okay? Now, if I provide all these kind of things to you, and then you still are investigating me, that's not your job. It's not your job to investigate. Your job is to process what I gave to you and then let whoever else go and do their job if it's fraudulent.
Hold on to this money. It's not your personal money. Like, how dare you? I mean, banking while black, it's a real issue, right? I have a friend who here in LA went to a bank in Century City with a nice bigger check and they refused to cash it because of the way he was dressed. Makes a lot of money, works in commercial real estate, and they refused to cash his check. He had to literally call the man who was white to come vouch for him for them to cash his check. It's a real thing.
And look at that. He had to get a white savior to come in and say, hey, he's one of the good ones. That's what it feels like always. It doesn't feel like anything else, but you had to go get a white savior to come and verify you. But y'all keep saying that America isn't racist. Y'all keep saying that we just played a race card. I'm sick of it. Or that we're woke. You know, they like to use that word woke now to categorize us. That's a new thing that they're doing now. That the woke crowd, when they say things like that, they're talking about black people, just so you know.
You know, what do you do? What do you do? Do they expect us not to have any money? I don't know. Is that what they're trying to say? I don't know what.
A couple problems I have, like, first of all, it's a casino within your community. You know they're making money. Like, and $31,000 is nothing to that casino, right? And you've probably seen a check like this before, but yet, this black woman walks in with $31,000, which is a drop in the bucket.
That's nothing.
I have people to go and spend their last check when it comes to gas or food so they can flip it just to pay the rent. So we know what happens. People of color are very guilty of doing this from time to time. It's unfortunate. So for her to be treated that way was totally
It's just sad. But you want us to have empathy. And the thing is that there are so many black people who give credence to these kind of things and really believe that not all this or that, or not all white people are this, and I don't even think that way, right? But I do have this, I don't want to say fear, right? I don't know what word I want to use. But I don't play too tough with a white person just out in the streets. I really just don't, especially living in Georgia. I'm going to say that. I do not. I don't really just come up to them and talk to them. I really won't unless I really need to. A worker or something, you know what I mean? I just won't because I don't know what kind of reaction I'm going to get from you. It's never like a black person is out there attacking white people. That's really low. That number of a black person going out and attacking white people is highly low. But the reverse conversation on that is pretty high. But then we're looked at as this and that. It's a shame that we have to live this way. Here's the 12-year-old who was attacked by a white woman. And I've talked about this, and I think me and Larry talked about it a little bit. But let's get into this story.
I'm trying to be nice to you.
In Florida,
You have a great day.
that woman is angry at a 12-year-old.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You're not going to touch my phone.
The boy and his friends had been in the street. The young man tells his pals to take his hoverboard.
Grab my hoverboard. This is my property. You're not going to touch my property. No. This is my property. My phone is my property. It doesn't matter. It's still my property. You do not have the right to touch my phone. It doesn't matter if my name's on it. It's still my property. I will. I have the right. This is public property. I can record you. I can record your face. I'm going to record your license plate. If you assault me, I will get you arrested. I will get you arrested.
Ruin your life? Ma'am, you're not wearing any shoes.
Are you gonna? I try to apologize to you. Quit walking towards me. Quit walking towards me. You assault me and I will assault you. Don't assault me.
Yep, Karen just made fun of a kid with a lisp.
Don't make fun of him because he has a list. Who cares? All right, whatever. You have a great day.
Look at her. You know, this is disgusting. And this is what these people do, these alleged Karens. And I hate to call them Karens anymore because they have really diluted the word Karen into just anything, really, at this point. This is a racist person. I don't like calling them Karens anymore, just because they've, you know, attacked many different races, and then they call them Karens, and it's not just about black anymore. We got this term Karen because they were attacking black people. And then, you know, like I said, it was diluted to everyone else because white women and white males do feel like they have a privilege to do this or do that. Like I was at the, I'll tell you a story. Here's a Karen that I had, a racist one. Here I am at the pool recently, and I go for pool therapy, and this woman wants to ask me if I'm getting in the pool. Why are you asking me anything? And why are you speaking to me? Because the first thing I asked her is, yes, I am getting in the pool. Is that okay? Oh, yeah, I was just, okay, so what are you, you're not the lifeguard, and which I asked her also. Are you the lifeguard? No, because I knew there was no lifeguards on duty because it said it against the wall in large print. So I asked her, are you the lifeguard? Because why are you speaking to me? They have this privilege that they believe is valid. You don't have no privilege over me or anyone else. You are upset that I am allowed to swim right next to you, or that I am riding my hoverboard like this young boy, or like I am barbecuing, like I am laughing in the gym, which happened recently where a white lady got mad at a black woman for laughing in the gym. You're laughing too loud, it scared me.
I tried being polite to you. I tried being polite to you. Yes, you did. And I tried telling you to move on and have a great day. Not me, not me. Not me. Not me. And you have no business coming down. You have no business.
She's saying that they have no business being in the road, but there are no sidewalks, idiot. Why don't you talk to your congressman? Why don't you talk to your mayor about why there's no sidewalks for children to be on? Where are they supposed to go? How are they supposed to get to this and that if they can't? If they're not allowed to drive. Most kids ride their bike. Most kids ride their skateboards. But here you are saying you have no business being in the road. You always try to find some reason to bother a black person, and then you go home and you jump on your message boards and you hide behind your keyboards. There is a reckoning. We're not fucking with y'all no more. Okay? I'm telling you, if you're listening to this, we're not fucking with you anymore. You have this 12-year-old who did a great job, by the way. Let's clap for him. Okay? Because he put it down on her.
This is coming towards me, threatening or not threatening me. I have no respect.
Look at her.
Do something. Do something. Do something to stop me. I dare you. I will do exactly, you know. Like, I'm not even gonna, you're not even worth my time. I'm not gonna cuss you out. I'm not gonna say anything. I tried being nice to you. I tried telling you just to move on.
He did. Here's the beginning.
You were dying at, oh my god. You are so up. Oh my god. You can go on. Have a good day. Sorry about what happened. I'm trying to be nice to you.
Quit or not, the 12-year-old is dominating this camp.
You don't know where I live. Oh, is that a threat? Is that a threat? Is that a threat? Let me get this license plate. Let's get that license plate. Oh yeah, license plate.
I love him. This is the child I want. And, wow, so she drives off and then tried to back up into him. She should be arrested. I bet you she wasn't arrested.
You don't know where I live. It won't be hard to figure out. I don't even live in this neighborhood. Like, go ahead. Because I have a right to be in this neighborhood. They're my friends. I can walk wherever I want. This is public property. This is public property. You just tried hitting me with your car. You cannot do that. Yes, you did. I got it on video. I was right here. You put it in reverse and tried hitting me. And she's coming out of the car. I can record your license plate all I want. You're in public property. I have the right. No, you can't. This is public property. You need to learn your rights. This is public property. Exactly. I'm a minor. You cannot assault me. You cannot assault me. Out of the road. I wasn't in the road.
There's her white rage.
Quit walking towards me. Quit walking. Quit walking towards me. Quit walking towards me. Quit walking towards me. I feel threatened right now. Leave me alone. I feel threatened. Leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. You just tried hitting me with your car. That's assault. You're not as tough as you think you are. I know I'm not tough. I know I'm not tough. Exactly. You're not going to touch my phone. I'll put my phone in your face. You're not going to assault me. You're not going to walk towards me.
Disgusting.
Do it.
Thank God. There's her license plate.
Yeah, because you just tried assaulting me. You realize you cut your car in reverse and went straight towards me. I have on video of you going back and then coming straight towards me. Oh, really? I'm talking about 5 seconds ago when you were over right here and you cut in reverse and went straight towards me.
Given the right fender, clearly this woman has a history of crashes.
Disgusting.
Are you kidding me?
Disgusting. Not these days. This is not just these days. Unfortunately, this is probably the first time he's had to deal with a racist person. Let me read this description. In Florida, a Karen, a racist, gets outclassed by an informed child, watches this 12-year-old stays calm and composed while schooling this barefoot racist woman. And the fact that she was barefoot, I mean, you are really gross. You're gross. You're just walking around. You're just driving with the pedal, dirty foot lady, you nasty trollop. And then arguing with children and trying to hit children with your car. Ugh. We'll be back. All right. We are back. Time to talk a little Trumpy. A little Trumpy. Trumpy has been hit with a $250 million fraud lawsuit. Let's get right into it because there's a lot to talk about.
Now to that new lawsuit sending shockwaves through the Trump Organization. New York State's Attorney General sued the former president and 3 of his children today, accusing them of, quote, staggering fraud in their real estate dealings. The state is seeking $250 million and looking to effectively put the Trumps out of business in New York. Here's CBS's Robert Costa.
Claiming you have money that you do not have does not amount to the art of the deal.
Black or white, or Hispanic or Asian. You can't do that. So for the ones out there who are going to defend him, you cannot do what he does. And he should not be allowed to. He's a private citizen. And let's be clear, this is something that he's always done. This is not the first time he's been alleged at doing this. He has over 7 bankruptcies before he was president. Okay? So you cannot do what he does. So defending him, I don't know why you're defending him at this point.
It's the art of the steal.
The sweeping lawsuit unveiled today by New York State Attorney General accuses the former president and his children of lying for more than a decade about his wealth and his company.
Donald Trump falsely inflated his net worth by billions of dollars to unjustly enrich himself and to cheat the system, thereby cheating all of us.
In a more than 200-page civil lawsuit, Letitia James said Trump inflated his value by billions, defrauding insurers and lenders and violating state law, and potentially federal laws too. Also named as key players, 3 of Trump's adult children, Ivanka, Eric, and Don Jr., plus 2 former executives.
It's mighty serious. It could essentially extinguish the Trump Organization in New York and be a body blow, maybe a fatal body blow to his entire empire and brand.
James said the Trumps made wild claims about the worth of nearly every one of their marquee properties, from Mar-a-Lago in Florida to his Manhattan buildings. She pointed to his apartment high above Trump Tower and said he claimed it was 30,000 square feet when it was less than 11,000, and overvalued it at $327 million, which James said was a deliberate lie.
No apartment in New York City has ever sold for close to that amount.
James is seeking to recover $250 million in allegedly unlawful profits and a permanent ban on Trump and his children from serving as top leaders in any New York company.
Robert Cox.
See, it's not even about going after Trump or this witch hunt that you guys out there who believe in this man, who really, all you believe in is, and the fact is, all you really believe in is that he's racist. You won't actually say why you believe in him, right? Because this is a man who's been in bed with Russia, we've been against forever, and I've talked about several times. We've always been against Russia and what they've done. He's in bed with Putin. He's in bed with North Korea, Kim Jong-un. We've always had problems with them. You know, he's in bed with China, which he's always trying to make fun of and put down, but he has several business acquisitions and business agreements with them. And you guys keep saying, you know, make it about America, make America great again. But he has all his businesses are built on lies. And they've been built on lies for years upon you. This is not his first time getting in trouble with people. This is not his first time at all. But you keep allowing this thought that people are just trying to go after him because he's Donald Trump more than anything. No, he's breaking laws. And of course, he has something to say about that, so let's get into that.
Well, Jim and Lauren, the lawsuit says that the former president inflated his income by billions of dollars in order to enrich himself and others, including his children. It also says he overstated the value of Mar-a-Lago. Now, it's the latest legal problem for Trump, who's considering a run.
Let's skip ahead a little bit.
Trump did this with the help of his three children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, and two former Trump Organization officials. James says the lawsuit follows a 3-year investigation, interviews with more than 65 witnesses, and a review of millions of documents submitted by Trump and others. James said Trump valued his Mar-a-Lago resort as high as $739 million when it should have been valued at about $75 million.
Mar-a-Lago was valued on the false premise that it sat on unrestricted property and could be developed for residential use.
A portion of the 280-page complaint zeroes in on another property in South Florida. The lawsuit says the statements were used to obtain and maintain favorable loans over at least an 11-year period, including Deutsche Land Bank's extension of a $125 million loan, or combination of loans, in connection with the Trump Organization's purchase of the property known as Trump National Doral.
Mr. Trump and the Trump Organization repeatedly and persistently manipulated the value of assets to induce banks to lend money to the Trump Organization on more favorable terms than would otherwise have been available to the company.
In response, Alina Habba, an attorney for Trump, said the lawsuit is neither focused on the facts nor the law. Despite the latest news, James Sofa says he remains solidly behind Donald Trump.
He is for the people and not for the politicians or the special interests.
And this is what I'm saying. He's for the people. He's not done anything for you people. You white people, you Hispanic people, you Asian people who are behind Trump, and some of you little black people who I don't really acknowledge. He's not done anything for you. He's only used himself becoming president and being president to boost his family's financially. I mean, there's not one thing that Donald Trump has really done for y'all at all. What has he done? Except for be racist. And I don't understand Hispanics who are behind this man. Okay, because he does not like y'all. He doesn't like y'all at all. He's not for you. Maybe he can be for Asians, okay? Because he has a lot of agreements with people in Asia. But Hispanics, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all are really sitting behind this man who doesn't care for you. Trump has blasted, and I wanted them to go into this. Trump, in a social media post, he has called Attorney General Letitia James, who is black, a racist and a fraud, but did not directly address the allegations of the civil lawsuit at all. He hasn't, he doesn't talk about the facts. He only brings up that she's a racist and a fraud. So then he gives these ideas to his followers that they're just going after him because he's white. When will you guys learn? You keep thinking that this man is for you, but he's not. Let me get into these Palm Beach residents who share differing opinions on the lawsuit.
The news of former President Trump being sued came as a surprise to some, while others who spoke with our Todd Wilson said it was only a matter of time. So we continue our team coverage with Todd joining us live now from Jupiter. Todd.
Well, that's right.
That's just funny to say, right? Live coverage from Jupiter.
Right across from Trump National Building, one of the properties that was mentioned in the lawsuit. So we thought it was best to come on out this area and try to take a listen to what some of the folks had to say around here. We hit the streets of two cities. First, we spoke with several people in Jupiter, specifically Abacoa, which is not far from Trump National Golf Club.
When I see people with political motivations going after him,
I'm suspicious of that. Support for Trump
Again, not talking about the facts.
is strong, and no one in Perry wanted to speak on camera against the former president. So we headed back to West Palm Beach, where we started.
He's a fraudulent person. He's a liar. He's sexist and everything that.
And a rapist, allegedly, right? And a rapist, allegedly.
For heaven's sake, so it's not, it's not surprising that he's being.
So they didn't really get much reactions. That's like 2 reactions, guys. What are you talking about? But anyway, we know that they weren't going to really talk and say much, right? Because these people never ever talk about the facts. They say, oh, it's politically motivated. But if I have facts for you, why don't you ever focus on what's the topic at hand? Why do you always want to say, oh, it's just a witch hunt, it's just this, it's just that? Why don't you ever talk about the facts of what this man has done? I want to get into the ladies of The View. Let's see what they have to say about this topic.
You know whose legal team must be on high alert right now. Because you know who? You in trouble. Because the troubles are mounting on federal and on local level. New York Attorney General Letitia James laid out her case yesterday. Yes, she did. Take a look.
Okay. We saw that. Let me skip a little ahead.
After that happened, you know who hightailed it over to Hannity to weigh in on this lawsuit, and the Justice Department resuming their investigation into the classified documents they seized from Mar-a-Lago. Watch this clip.
I actually thought that they would never bring a case, and she brought it. And the reason I thought, because she didn't have a case, I was of the impression she wanted to settle. This was just a
So how do you not have a case if you have valued your property at $327 million, whatever they said, over $300 million, right? But it's really valued way far less. You've put your property at having over 33,000 square feet, but it only has 11,000. Your other properties are the same kind of idea. How do you not have a case when you're literally defrauding? Why don't you talk about the facts?
Situation of a witch hunt that began when I came down the escalator at Trump Tower. I didn't want to settle because how can you, even if I paid a very small amount, you're sort of admitting guilt.
Did she offer you a settlement deal?
I could have said, in my opinion, I could have settled the case. If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it, because you're sending it to Mar-a-Lago or to wherever you're sending it. And there doesn't have to be a process.
What are you doing, Whoopi? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking him into jail.
If you would just think about stuff.
Just think about stuff.
Manifest.
Yeah. Who knew?
Yeah.
You know.
Twitter would think like he Jedi mind tricked that. Like I dream of genies.
Yeah. What I will say, about Letitia James, I mean, we know she's just such an incredible attorney. But for him to say, like, I don't even know this has nothing to do with it. She has receipts. It's a 220-page lawsuit. And it lays out his annual financial statements for years and years and years. And it also says that he wildly inflated the worth of nearly every one of his properties. And overall, that lawsuit said that 11 of his annual financial statements included more than 200 false and misleading asset valuations. You can get put in jail for just doing that one thing. Just one.
Again, if you are a regular person and you do this, you will be locked up. The only reason why you are giving him credence is because his name is Donald Trump. He hosted a show called The Apprentice, and then he became president. And he became a racist president for you. He became your racist king that was just like you, just like your hate, just like the hate you spew, he was that.
Exaggerates everything. The crowd is enormous. Remember Marla Maples had to be forced to put on the cover of the New York Post best sex I ever had. You know he put her up to that. He'll go to jail and be like, this cell was the biggest, the most beautiful cell I've ever been in. 14,000 square foot cell I'm in.
But you know,
But you know, okay, one more thing. You know, when Rosie O'Donnell went after him, everybody remembers that, right?
Yeah.
The thing that got me really ticked off, not the hair thing, he didn't care about that. It was because she went after the money.
Yes.
She said he doesn't have the money. He's
Yeah.
a liar and an exaggerator. And that made him so vicious. He was like a vicious animal. He really was.
That's what
That
I was
poor girl, but she
going to
went through it.
add to, because Lawrence
Yeah.
Tribe, who's a professor at Harvard, I think he's just one of our greatest legal minds, he said that the fact that this is exposing him in a business sense, that he doesn't have any money, is more important to him than being in an orange federal jumpsuit.
Mhm.
And I think that
Orange is the new orange.
Orange is the new.
It'll match his blush.
Oh my God.
All that blush and lacquer he puts on his face, it'll match all of it.
So giddy.
I know. Somebody tried to contain Joy's excitement for her, but
I've been there before, though, Alyssa, and I've gotten excited and it's amounted to nothing. He's still there, so I'm trying to temper myself.
You got
But
to temper. You still have to temper.
This is objectively his worst week because this one New York civil suit is significant. I was talking to a very good attorney yesterday who said this could bankrupt the Trump organization. It could cause it to fold. Even if he doesn't wind up in jail, that alone, I think, is very significant for his family. But he also, the ongoing January 6th investigation, the DOJ grand jury, the Fulton County, Georgia investigation. Ejon Carroll is now able to file a suit about...
And the Fulton County thing, we talked about on the show here, I think 2 shows back, or perhaps, where we saw actual elected or election officials allowing his people into, not the back door. She allowed him in through the front door to commit fraud, voter fraud.
About her sexual assault allegations against him from the 90s. It is, the chickens are coming home to roost. And as somebody who worked for Donald Trump, can I say this? He tried to defraud the American public in the election. He lost. He lied about it. He tried to put up fake electors. This is what he's done his entire life. And I hope the American people...
And she worked with him, okay?
Well, I know his kids participated willingly, but the thing that comes to mind is those Trump kids have never done anything but Trump business. And as a parent, when you go into doing something like this and you know there's risk, if they were knowingly involved, which I don't question they were, how do you not at least protect your children?
Well, didn't he have some shoes and jewelry and stuff like that too, though?
Well, yeah, she's had some, you're right, she's had some sites, but business in general, and this business particularly, one of the things Letitia James is asking for was about the 5-year ban on Trump entering any real estate deals. And when I was listening to this, I kind of thought what you did, Joy, like, here it goes again, but nothing's going to happen. It's a lot of paperwork. That would bankrupt them because for that time, this is according to ABC News' Aaron Katersky, he wouldn't be able to not only conduct real estate transactions, that includes collecting rent on any of his properties or securing a loan to protect the longevity of holding the building.
You know what's interesting? You mentioned that the kids. There she goes. There she goes. You mentioned the children. You know, I don't have siblings, but I hear about this sibling rivalry about, you know, one kid hates that they're the favorite of the other kid. Tiffany Trump is nowhere to be found in this.
But Tiffany is not involved with
She ended up being the favorite kid because she's the one that's not going to
she's
jail.
not the favorite. She's the one who's going to say, I'm
She's the one not going to jail.
Lock him up. Lock him up. Trump in drag, as I like to call her, Representative Taylor Greene, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, she's the biggest one. She's, I think, maybe even worse to him with her racism. She's actually assaulting people now.
An activist, I believe she was a climate activist. She just confronted some young activists. An activist, I believe she was a climate activist. She just confronted Marjorie Taylor Greene. Remember her? She'll be gone soon, like Michelle Bachmann. But we'll talk about it. Let's have a last hurrah for her. Anyway, this activist confronted her about gun reform and went about as well. Oh, that's what it was. And went about as well as you'd think. So watch.
The Second Amendment. How does the Second
You're the
Amendment?
one that believes that
You need
it
to
is
correct
correct.
out of ignorance. You're blocking a member of Congress. You're blocking a member of Congress.
Wow.
You can't block members of Congress.
So this young woman claims that Marjorie Taylor Greene kicked her.
She did kick
But
her.
the people deny it. Do you think that she could? Did you see it?
This is the first time I'm watching it. I mean, it looks like she was walking in front of her and she tripped. I'm the first to be able to call out Marjorie Taylor Greene because I think she's a horrid person. But I don't know if that's an intentional kick. I mean, she's like a CrossFit person. If she wants to kick somebody,
But she has a history of some kind of violence. I mean, she went after that kid David Hogg.
Yeah. Well, that was horrible.
She went after him. She accosted AOC at one time. She's the kind of girl I grew up with.
I need slow motion almost.
It looks like she stepped on the back of her heel.
That's what she did.
Yeah,
she kicked her.
She kicked her.
She kicked her.
The second
Now,
one looks suspect.
if you see it, and you can see this on YouTube on while we watch it here, she definitely kicked her, and wow.
The fact that we're even having this conversation has shown us how far our standards of civility and decorum have gone.
Really, that's what I really keep pushing out there to people is that, like, not to sway away from this conversation, but there was a post someone put up about how people now, well, men nowadays aren't romantic at all, and I'm just like, well, have you seen what we are being fed? We're not being fed, things about being married, going on dates. It's just sex and nudity and all these things. And you have to really keep seeing the violence that these kind of people, Marjorie Taylor Greene and others who, the insurrectionists, the traitors of this country, who committed treason on January 6th, they have only seen violence recently, and they commit to violence, and they like violence. And if you see that clip, again, which I'm going to run back here and let it play while I talk, this kick that she did to this lady on the back of her shoes. So the lady is walking in front of her, but she's asking her questions. She's not just, she's a reporter just like I am, and she's using her phone to record the question that she's asking her. You see her literally kick her, and Marjorie Taylor Greene starts saying something, kind of like, well, get out of my way then. You know what I mean? That's something, you do when people are annoying you. And she was definitely annoyed by her questions. She was walking in front of her. The lady did not change her tempo of speed. And you see her kick her. These people will stop at nothing. They'll make fun of people who are disabled. They'll have all these rape accusations, Donald Trump, and they'll still have support. And I'm just waiting for the moment when Donald Trump is exposed for being something towards white people or taking something away from white people, that finally the white people and the Hispanics and the Asians, I can't wait for the day that something like that comes out about him and those kind of people. This last topic I'm going to get into, which is just really disgusting. These migrants have been bussed around from the border, shall I say, and been thrown into cities like Chicago and even Newark, I think I saw. And it actually happened where these migrants who are trying to come to America and get away from the visceral violence that is being done in Mexico and obvious other places, they were bused to Kamala Harris's house, who's the vice president. If you don't know, you should know. They were bused to right outside of her residence.
A feud between Republican governors and Democrat-led cities over immigration is escalating to an all-new level. Dozens of migrants from Texas are being taken to shelters after being dropped off outside Vice President Kamala Harris's house in D.C. Now, Massachusetts lawmakers are also slamming Florida Governor Ron DeSantis for flying migrants to Martha's Vineyard. NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach joins us now. He's in Washington today. So, Gary, I want to start with a tweet that we just got from the Texas Governor Greg Abbott here. We'll put it up on the screen. This morning, 2 Texas buses of migrants arrived at the Naval Observatory in D.C., Vice President's residence. VP Harris claims our border is secure and denies the crisis. We're sending migrants to her backyard to call on the Biden administration to do its job and secure the border. So, Gary, first off here,
The one thing is that they keep saying that they don't want these people in America because they're rapers and murderers and all these things. But then you spread them out. You send them to other cities in this country. So what are you actually doing, right? You're trying to be funny. You're trying to play with people's lives, and it's horrible. And those who support this idea that well, they said that there's no problem, so send them out there. You're still pushing these people that you claim are rapers and murderers and such a danger to society. You're still pushing them out to other Americans.
What's being done with these migrants that have now been shipped to that area, and what's the White House saying at this point?
Yeah, Aaron, as you mentioned, Washington, D.C. is not new to migrants being bussed into the city. It's something that's been happening from the governor of Texas since April. So they've got systems and plans in place for when this happens. D.C. government has stood up an Office of Migrant Services. There's church groups and volunteer organizations that help these migrants get food, water, shelter, and help them plan for the future. But that's not what happened today, because those volunteers were ready downtown. Everyone was caught off surprise when the buses stopped here in far northwest D.C. Aaron, you know D.C. well. This is a very residential area, and it's where the vice president lived. So for about a half an hour, there was some bewildered Secret Service agents and 101 men, women, and children that were just sitting here, and the White House press secretary is not happy about that. Take a listen.
The fact that Fox News and not the Department of Homeland Security, the city, or local NGOs were alerted about a plan to leave migrants, including children, on the side of a busy DC street makes clear that this is just a cruel, premeditated political stunt.
And they always hate when it's a political stunt against Trump. But how can you not see this as a stunt and nothing but a stunt? How can you not? How can you not at all? How can you just say this is something that should be done? These are people, these are human beings who don't have anywhere to go. They're coming to this country to, and at this point, I don't know why the hell you're still coming to this country. I get they're trying to evade violence and stuff, but don't you see what's going on here? I mean, you probably don't. I don't know. I mean, I can't really say that to them, but I'm just trying to figure out why you would still be coming here at all. When these people are doing this to your people, you can see, or maybe, like I said, maybe you don't see them. Maybe you don't see them doing anything. Sorry, that was my dog being crazy. He's he's a nutcase. How do you, like I said, maybe they don't see this at all, but someone should be telling these people that, there is no real, I don't know what to say. There's no real glory of coming here the way that they are coming here at all. But I guess if, your life's on the line, your children's life's on the line, you will do whatever it takes. But to use these people as pawns or a political scheme and put them in danger, well, I guess they're not in danger if they're going on these buses and whatnot, but you just never know what could happen, right? You just throw someone on a bus and just send them to DC or send them to Chicago, other places, Martha's Vineyard, and you expect them to flourish. You don't expect them to flourish. You're literally trying to put them in a position where other politicians have to take care of them instead of actually embracing them, because I believe that's a part of America's whole ideology, right? Is that we'll take in your poor, we'll take in your weak, but you're not doing that. You're only doing it for yourselves. You're not doing it for people of brown and black colored skin, which I've talked about, I think season 1, what America has done and has treated Haitians who've also wanted to leave that country and come and start a new life here in America. But they only will help out, people from the Ukraine, pretty much anyone who does not have black and brown skin. It's a very, I feel, racist move And racism is not just towards black people and at all, racism is what it is. It's white supremacy. And this is just another move in white supremacy. This show was pretty long today. But I'm very happy that it was what it was because I did have my first ever guest on the show, Larry. Thank you again for coming through. Make sure you check him out. 50 Yard Stitch is his handle on IG and his event coming up. Of course, we're going to have more questions as always. The questions never, ever stop. Please like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Please keep listening as you are on streaming services. I totally appreciate you. And, if you are against some of my views, hey, come on. Let's go talk. Let's have an actual discussion. But one thing we have to always do is talk about facts. And that's the only thing I push is facts. Can't talk about things being, a witch hunt and all these kind of things where you just kind of muddle down what's being talked about or muddle down the facts. I really implore you to stick with the facts. And if you are out there and you're a person who gets in arguments with, people, as I was called a liberal, or you're just a liberal, you're just a this, fine, call me a liberal. But what about the facts? What about them? Why don't you talk about them? Why can't you have a conversation about what we're actually talking about? I'm your host with the mostest, and I will see you next time. This is I've Got Questions. Peace out.